And now, ladies and gentlemen, to give the command of the most famous words in auto racing is today's Grand Marshal, the President of Heinz USA, Bill Springer. Gentlemen, start your engines.
Now the Heinz Southern 500 comes your way next. NASCAR today is produced. And the cars roar to life here on the pit lane. Darlington International Raceway for today's running of the 40th Heinz Southern 500.
39 cars roar to life. Welcome to Race Day America here on ESPN. The Heinz Southern 500 is coming up. NASCAR racing this afternoon from Darlington, South Carolina, the Heinz Southern 500. And the cars begin to roll away from the pit area onto this 1.366 mile track. And the Southern 500 is just a few minutes away from the start. Here's a look at the track, too tough to tame. It's 1.366 miles in length. The pole lap time was 30.705 seconds. The speed 160.156 miles an hour. The banking is at 24 degrees. We'll go 367 laps. They'll be able to go 70 to 75 laps before a fuel stop. Here's the starting lineup for today. Alan Kowicki will be on the pole, his fourth pole of the year and second straight. Ken Schrader will be outside of row number 1 in the Folgers Coffee Chevrolet. In row number 2 for this afternoon's race, it'll be Mark Martin in car number 6, the Stroh-Light Ford. He won the pole here in the spring at Darlington. Outside of row number 2 will be Bill Elliott in car number 9, the Coors Ford. Bill is from Dawsonville, Georgia. In row number 3 for this afternoon's Southern 500, it's Rusty Wallace from St. Louis, Missouri. He'll drive the number 27 Kodiak Pontiac. And then starting in 6th position will be Harry Gant from Taylorsville, North Carolina in the Skull Bandit Oldsmobile, car number 33. Going to row number 4 on the inside will be Jeff Bodine from Chemung, New York in the Levi Garrett Chevrolet, car number 5. Outside row number 4 in 8th position is Ricky Rudd from Chesapeake, Virginia in the number 26 Quaker State Buick. Going to the 9th starting position now will be Darrell Waltrip in car number 17, the Tide Chevrolet, eligible for $1 million. Starting in 10th position outside of row number 5 will be Dale Earnhardt from Kannapolis, North Carolina. He's in the number 3 GM Goodwrench Chevrolet. In row number 6 will be Brett Bodine from Chemung, New York. He drives the Motorcraft Ford, car number 15. And then starting in 12th position, in car number 10, Derek Cope from Spanaway, Washington in the Purolator Pontiac. Starting in 13th position will be Rick Wilson. 14th is Dick Trickle. And in the 8th row, Michael Waltrip and Sterling Marlin. And as we look at the rest of the starting lineup, gentlemen, the tension is building, isn't it?
No doubt about it. You know, Darrell Waltrip mentioned he'd like to see the sun shining. Well, as they're about to get the green flag, the sun is coming out. Some of the clouds have dissipated a little bit, so he might get his wish in that respect.
I tell you, this is exciting.
Yeah, it is.
As Dick Berggren said on pit road, not only on pit road, guys, but in the booth, it is exciting. One race, $1 million.
He has odds against him, no question about that, but Darrell Waltrip is very confident that he can pull off the victory here this afternoon. We have 3 in-car cameras for you this afternoon. One will be with Harry Gant, who won this race, at least here at Darlington in the spring. We have a bumper cam on his car. We're looking back at Ricky Rudd in the Quaker State Buick. Also, we have an in-car camera riding with Hut Strickland in the Heinz sponsored car this afternoon. Just ahead of him is Jimmy Spencer and Terry Labonte, and we'll be watching him, and we'll be watching Alan Kowicki as he tries to pick up the Unocal Challenge money. We'll also have an in-car camera with him. You see him shifting up through the gears and getting ready for a start of this 500-mile race. There is Alan. Well, the weather is overcast here. It has been very, very hot and humid since we arrived. It did rain just a little bit earlier today, and it's slightly less humid. The clouds remain. However, as Ned just told you, the clouds are dissipating somewhat. It looks like a great afternoon of racing. Let's go to Dick Berggren quickly.
Some interesting statistics, Bob Jenkins. In the last 3 races, when Alan Kulwicki won the pole, Darrell Waltrip won the race. In Atlanta, Kulwicki won the pole. Waltrip started 4th and won. Waltrip started 4th again at Charlotte when Kulwicki won the pole, and Waltrip won. At Bristol last week, Waltrip started 9th. Kulwicki started on the pole. Waltrip won. Guess where Darrell Waltrip starts today? Right, 9th. But there's one more item here, and that is that the last time Alan Kulwicki signed a sponsor contract during race week was at Phoenix last year, and you know the story there. He won the race. So maybe he'll do it here today, too. Jerry Punch, what's going to happen with you?
Well, a lot of statistics for Darrell Waltrip also, but you mentioned Alan Kulwicki, and you know the fact that 4 of the last 5 Southern 500s have been won from the pole. And Alan Kulwicki says, hey, if I can do that today, it'll be a great weekend. He signed a new contract with his sponsor. He'll pick up $144,000 plus the purse money here, so almost $250,000 to Alan Kulwicki. So it could be a red letter day, history making here in the Southern 500. Bob?
Thank you, gentlemen, and you will see that $1 million will buy, among other things, 100,100 gallons of antifreeze that Alan Kulwicki might want for his Xerox Ford.
I can get that wholesale for you, Bob. We get more than that.
Davey Allison had a rather poor qualifying effort here this weekend. He's starting way back in 25th position.
But look for him to come up through the pack. I think he has his car working much better. There he is alongside of Dale Jarrett in the Hardee's Pontiac. And I believe that both of those drivers will make moves towards the front as we're about ready to go for green.
The Heinz Southern 500 from Darlington Raceway in South Carolina is about to begin. Darrell Waltrip sets off to win $1 million, and Alan Kulwicki grabs the lead going to turn 1.
Boy, did he get a good jump on the start of the race.
The 39-car field makes it safely through the first and second turns, and now Alan Kulwicki is already at the end of the backstretch. There is Darrell Waltrip alongside Harry Gant as the cars now are in the banking between turns 3 and 4. Here's Kulwicki leading. Rusty Wallace has gone into second position, and here is the battle as Dale Earnhardt and Darrell Waltrip battle side by side. Harry Gant is also right there in car number 33. Waltrip not really making a big move to the front at this moment. We're inside Harry Gant, Skull Bandit. Now there's the bumper cam as we look back on Darrell Waltrip.
Darrell certainly is not going to take any chances at this stage of the race, and not really until late in the race. He wants to keep himself as clean as possible out there, not too close to other cars.
He is still in 9th position. He began from 9th and still is. Ricky Rudd is right behind him in 10th. He's been telling us all weekend long, you can't beat yourself here at Darlington. You've got to take it easy and watch what happens, and that's exactly what he's doing at the moment. Alan Kulwicki has the lead of the Southern 500, with Rusty Wallace running in second position. Third is Kent Schrader. Fourth is Mark Martin. Bill Elliott runs fifth. Jeff Bodine is sixth. Dale Earnhardt seventh. Harry Gant is eighth. Darrell Waltrip ninth, and Ricky Rudd 10th.
And that, Bob Jenkins, is a classic statement. You cannot let this racetrack beat you. The first 300 miles, you've got to race the racetrack. Keep the car in one piece, and then race the race cars with what you have left.
Lap number 4 is complete. There you can see the interval between the leader and Waltrip, turning back in 9th spot.
He can still see the leader, and that's all he wants to do, is just to be able to keep him in sight within a quarter of a lap, or maybe even a half a lap. His car is running good enough that he can stay within sight off the leaders.
There's the leader, Alan Kulwicki, as he has opened up a little bit of an advantage on second place, Rusty Wallace. We have just begun the Heinz Southern 500 at Darlington Raceway. We'll be back with more in just a moment. With 7 of 367 laps completed in the Heinz Southern 500, Alan Kulwicki is the leader. Rusty Wallace second, followed by Ken Schrader, Mark Martin, and Bill Elliott. 6 through 10, Dale Earnhardt, Jeff Bodine, Harry Gant, Darrell Waltrip, and Ricky Rudd. There is Kulwicki as he comes off corner number 4, about to complete lap number 8.
He got himself a good jump on the start of the race, Bob, and has maintained a pretty good distance in front of Rusty Wallace, who is running in second place. Ken Schrader Running in third, fourth is Mark Martin, and fifth, Bill Elliott.
And I think that all these drivers are doing just exactly like we talked about Darrell Waltrip a moment ago. They're basically letting the racetrack, just watching the racetrack. Don't use your car up too early.
We're watching the race here for 7th position. Jeff Bodine in car number 5, and now we are riding with Harry Gant, who is in 8th spot at the moment.
You can see the car bounce as they go down the front straightaway here into the first turn. The pavement is a little uneven from the start-finish line down towards turn 1. See Jeff Bodine moving on the outside of the car being lapped there already. James Hilton going a lap down.
Once again, 7th and 8th, Jeff Bodine and Harry Gant, who won the Trans-South 500 in the spring here at Darlington.
And of course, he won the Gatorade 200 Busch Grand National race here just yesterday.
Davey Allison started in 28th position and is having trouble moving through the field. He started in 25th position.
He's picked up a few positions though, Bob. He's doing it very carefully, but he has picked up several positions. Looks like his car is working pretty well as it goes high into the turn, sort of makes the V out of that turn, then comes back down to the inside. That's the way that we'll see most of them going through that turn 1 and 2 today.
That's Ernie Irvin in car number 2, right behind Davey Allison, who was married last Wednesday. And Jimmy Spencer in the number 88 car that's behind Ernie Irvin.
Rusty Wallace now has closed in a little bit on Alan Kulwicki.
Yes, just a car length or 2 back, and you know he's just done this in the last lap or 2. So either Rusty Wallace has found a great combination, or Kulwicki's slowing down a little bit.
And Bill Elliott is slowing on the racetrack. Dale Earnhardt just blew by him on the outside, and Elliott may have a problem, although it appears as if the car is running okay now. But boy, Dale Earnhardt just went by like a rocket ship.
Bob, I went by and talked to Ernie up this morning, Bill's brother, and also the crew chief on that Ford. He told me they changed 3 springs, a sway bar, and the weight distribution this morning. So I think that they're probably going to have some caution flags and do some adjusting all during the race if they're going to get their car correct.
Bill probably just trying to sort it out right now here early in the race. Maybe not working as perfectly as he would like for it to, but he didn't fight Earnhardt. Just moved over and let him go, I think. And he said, let me follow him for a while. Maybe he's running a better groove than I am.
Well, Bill Elliott back in 1985 was the first driver to win the Winston Million, as now we see a battle developing for the lead as Rusty Wallace has caught Alan Kulwicki and putting pressure on him as the cars go down the backstretch. Rusty in number 27, second in Winston Cup points, and Alan Kulwicki in number 7 looking to walk off with the Unocal Challenge money and amounting to $144,000.
Rusty Wallace would like to lead this race as early as possible to get 5 bonus points that are given for any driver who leads a Winston Cup race. And just in case he should have trouble later on, at least he would have those 5 points in the book.
Well, Alan Kulwicki has led from the drop of the green flag. He's been our only leader so far, but Rusty Wallace is that close to him.
You know, a moment ago, Rusty Wallace pulled up on the back bumper of Kulwicki, and then I'm not sure that Kulwicki didn't run across a slower car, some traffic that caused that situation. Just like J.D. McDuffie, you see there how Darrell Waltrip was trying to get by him, how Brett Bodine and Rick Wilson pulled up on his back bumper. Traffic at this place can be horrendous.
Darrell Waltrip has lost a position. He's back in 10th at the moment. That's Brett Bodine, Rick Wilson, and Michael Waltrip trailing him. So Darrell Waltrip has dropped from his starting position of 9th back to 10th.
But you can see how he keeps himself clear of the other cars as much as he possibly can, Bob. And that's good, smart driving. And this is not new for him today. He does that in practically every race, especially on a tough track like this one.
Waltrip using the same motor to win this race that he won the Daytona and the race at Charlotte with, the World 600.
And we see the red and white number 15 right behind Darrell Waltrip. That's Waltrip we see in the shot now. The red and white car behind Darrell Waltrip, driven by Brett Bodine. It was announced here Friday or Thursday, I guess it was, at a press conference. He is going to drive the Quaker State automobile owned by Kenny Bernstein next year.
So there's a lot of pressure on Darrell Waltrip to win this weekend, and we asked Bill Elliott, who won in '85, what's your advice for Darrell?
Darrell knows. I mean, all he's got to do is win a race. It's just plain and simple. It speaks for itself.
It sounds simple, but it isn't. Darrell has his work cut out for him, and you saw the lead change as Rusty Wallace has taken over the top spot from Alan Kulwicki on lap number 18.
Well, he made it look pretty easy as he moved around. He followed him for a while, saw where the best place on the track would be to make that move, and did, and now he has picked up those 5 bonus points as we see car number 16, Larry Pearson, going high, Morgan Shepherd going by on the inside. That's Dick Trickle in car number 84, and Bobby Hillen in car number 8 up in front of them, and Greg Sachs is in the pits. The yellow flag is out. Sachs has been into the wall.
Caution is out for the first time on the Heinz Southern 500 as Rusty Wallace gets it slowed down. We're checking to see exactly what the reason is. It could be, it is for debris on the racetrack caused by, as you indicated, Ned, Greg Sachs tangle with the wall. They're working on the right side of the car. You can see they're pounding the sheet metal out from the wheel area. But he did indeed scrape the wall, and debris is on the racetrack. So that's the reason for our first caution in the Heinz Southern 500.
That's the infamous Darlington stripe, damage to the right side of the automobile where it makes contact with the outside retaining wall.
Pit stops coming up.
Here come the leaders in for pit stops as Greg Sachs goes out of the pits. Here comes Rusty Wallace, Alan Kulwicki, Mark Martin, Schrader, Bodine, Elliott, Waltrip, and others in for pit stops. Now let's go to Dick Berggren, who is with Alan Kulwicki.
Well, what they're going to do here is everybody is going to, we got the 7 car on the bottom, Rusty's on the top. Everybody's going to take 4 tires on this. The hot thing is they say, no, they're not. Kulwicki has taken 2 tires. He is going to beat everybody on the racetrack. Kulwicki is taking only 2. Everybody else is taking 4. They're taking 4 sticker tires. Rusty is going to follow him out, followed by Hillen in the 8 car, followed by Mark Martin, and then Jeff Bodine. Very interesting pit strategy by Alan Kulwicki here right off the top.
So Waltrip and Gant and Rudd and others go back out onto the racetrack after having changed 4 tires, but Kulwicki only 2.
Well, that is an interesting strategy. And here's the back pits. Boy, everybody coming in over there. There's Kyle Petty and Morgan Shepherd. We'll take a look inside of Hut Strickland's car, the Heinz 57 car, as he gets service on his car. That's Dale Jarrett right in front of him, getting 4 tires on his car. Jerry Punch, how's the tire wear looking today?
Well, Ned, you know, you mentioned Alan Kulwicki only changed right side tires. The reason is that most of the crews feel the left side tires are wearing so well. They watched yesterday during the Busch Grand National event and saw the left side tires wearing almost nil. I mean, nothing at all. And many crews felt that they could go probably 140 or 150 laps on the left side tires. That's 2 gas stops. The right side tires are a different story on the other hand. Right side tires will probably only last about 70 laps maximum and in a fuel stop. So that's what they say down here in the pits. Let's go back upstairs to Benny Parsons.
Under the new NASCAR rule, the people that have to pit on the back straightaway today are going to get killed. We saw Hut Strickland back there. We saw Dale Jarrett back there in the Hardee's Pontiac. It's just a killer back there because the guys on the front straightaway get to pit first. Therefore, they able to get their service and get back on the racetrack. And then the fellows that pitted on the back straightaway get to make their pits, have to fall in behind all the rest of them.
Yellow is out. 21 laps complete in the Heinz Southern 500. The leaderboard, Dave Marcus on top. Alan Kulwicki is second, followed by Rusty Wallace, then Bobby Hillen and Mark Martin. Running 6 through 10, Jeff Bodine, Dale Earnhardt, Bill Elliott, Darrell Waltrip, and Harry Gant. Now, Alan Kulwicki grabbed the lead at the start of the event and held it until this move by Rusty Wallace.
When in turn 3, the cars go up a little bit high on the racetrack. Rusty Wallace, what a run he got going in turn 3. Just simply turns the car underneath Alan Kulwicki. And Kulwicki, once he gets it, and once Rusty gets in that position, there's nothing Alan Kulwicki can do except what he did do. Back off the throttle, let Rusty Wallace go.
And Benny, we've seen all year long that car number 27 will turn left when he needs to, even when he's in the accelerator. That's a mark of a good handling race car.
Jeff Hammond is wearing the crew cam. He's the crew chief, of course, on Darrell Waltrip's car, and this is how it looked to him when Darrell came in for the tire change.
He's the jackman as well. He goes around to the other side after they get the service on the right side. Now they're changing the left side tires. You can see Bobby looks from the front to the rear to see exactly when those guys are finished. When that jack drops, that's the signal for Darrell Waltrip to take off.
That's a good shot.
Yeah, it was.
But on that right side, it looked like his eyes was on 360-degree rotation or something, like they wasn't hooked to his head. He didn't look back and forth on the right side like he did on the left.
But the time wasn't there to go. And when that jack goes down, that's the signal for Darrell Waltrip to take off.
Well, twice Harold Kinder has given the indication to the drivers that they'll go green next time around, but on both occasions he has said, nope, we're going to stay yellow. Let's go to Jerry Punch, who's with Rick Hendrick.
Well, Rick Hendrick stands to gain a lot today, or possibly lose a lot. He's got 3 cars in the field, and Rick, a lot of pressure on you, the Winston Million. Obviously, that's your car.
Well, you know, it's an honor to be here today to try to win $1 million in a race, and for us to have an opportunity, it's great and it's exciting. But you know, I had my $1 million deal this week when my dad came home and made it from the hospital, and so we're just going to run this thing today, and I hope all 3 of them do well. And old Darrell, if he can be up in the top 10 with 20 to go, I think we got an awful good shot.
I think they do have a good shot. I would like to say hello to Papa Joe Hendrick, recovering back in Charlotte. We are 24 laps in a 367-lap Southern 500. The leader is Dave Marcus. We're the first caution flag of the day. Can Darrell Waltrip do it? Stay tuned. We'll find out.
24 laps completed, and we are about to go green, but once again, we'll review the top 10 for you. Dave Marcus, who did not pit, is the leader. Alan Kulwicki second, then Rusty Wallace, Bobby Hillen, and Mark Martin. Jeff Bodine, Dale Earnhardt, Bill Elliott, Darrell Waltrip, and Harry Gant make up the second 5. Cars are on the backstretch, and this time around we should be going green. There has been some debris on the racetrack from an incident involving Greg Sachs when he scraped the wall, and then a wrench fell off of a car, causing a further delay. But now the green waves, and we are back to racing at the Heinz Southern 500 on lap number 26. Marcus leads him down.
Well, with new tires on those other cars, they should be able to move around Dave Marcus pretty easily, and Rusty Wallace does.
Rusty Wallace passes both Alan Kulwicki and Dave Marcus in the first and second turns and grabs the lead. Marcus hangs on to second position, but look at Alan Kulwicki in number 7 as he tries to take the position away from him. Kulwicki has second position, Marcus to third, and here comes Mark Martin in car number 6 to try to grab third from Dave.
Boy, new tires make such a difference here at Darlington, at least for the first 4 or 5 laps. And Dave Marcus already had more than 20 laps on his tires. He chose to stay out there, get those 5 bonus points. Look at Dale Earnhardt trying to root under there, but he decided that was not the time to make the move.
Now Earnhardt will pull to the inside of the racetrack. Jeff Bodine is hooked right on his back bumper as they head to turn number 1. Earnhardt picks up the 4th position, and here comes Jeff Bodine as Dave Marcus slides high on the racetrack. That's Bill Elliott and then Darrell Waltrip coming along.
Darrell Waltrip passed Bobby Hillen on the inside. That's probably the closest Darrell's gotten to anybody all day, isn't it?
You can bet that Darrell's going to be very, very cautious, but on the other hand, he's not going to let people take advantage of him. We can see from Harry Gant's in-car camera, Darrell moved to the inside in turn number 4 and passed Dave Marcus, and now we'll see if Harry Gant can do so. Down the front stretch and into turn number 1, he runs side by side with Marcus down into turn number 1 and does grab the spot.
Marcus' car with the hotter tires slid up just a little bit. It gave Gant running room. And every one of those other cars made a pit stop. We were looking out the back of Harry Gant's car into Dave Marcus, the Lifebuoy Chevrolet.
Bobby Hillen is right behind Dave Marcus as now Harry begins to separate himself from Marcus. Bobby Hillen went from 17th to 4th during those pit stops, but he has dropped back since then. And here is Dale Earnhardt going to 3rd position, and Jeff Bodine will come along in car number 5.
Boy, it looked like made it awfully easy there. Mark Martin, maybe his car is not working quite as well. Here comes Bill Elliott down on the inside, so Mark Martin might be having some slight problem. I don't think it's a major problem, but certainly those cars are moving around with ease.
Harry Gant goes by Darrell Waltrip down in turn 1, takes that spot away.
Here comes Ricky Rudd working inside of Dave Marcus for the 9th position.
And that's Ken Schrader right behind Rudd. He's going by Marcus down the back straightaway. And that's Rick Wilson. There we go back to Dale Earnhardt and Jeff Bodine. Alan Kulwicki. This is a race for second spot.
Now remember, Kulwicki only took on right side tires. Earnhardt and Rusty Wallace and the others took on 4 tires.
And I believe when this deal's over with in about 15 or 20 minutes, Alan Kulwicki is going to wish that he had put on 4 tires.
I think you're right, Benny.
He right now holds on to second position, but Dale Earnhardt is putting pressure on him.
Of course, there's one thing different about Alan Kulwicki. He owns his own team, and he has to pay those tire bills. So those other guys, somebody else pays the bills.
And he has indicated that he'll be back with this combination next year, Xerox and driving for his own team. There's some speculation he would be moving to various teams, but he says he's going to stick with it. Now Earnhardt moves inside and passes Kulwicki, and Dale Earnhardt has second. Let's see if Jeff Bodine in the yellow and white Levi Garrett Chevrolet can take over third spot, and he does. So Alan Kulwicki is back to fourth.
I think what's happening, we saw Mark Martin lose momentum a little bit ago. When these guys are getting high on turn 2 now, they're just losing a great deal of momentum, and therefore the fellows are able to pass them easily.
Rusty Wallace is the leader of the race. He is quite a distance ahead of this group of cars that are pretty much running nose to tail. Here is Rusty as he comes off the second corner, leading the Heinz Southern 500.
And it took Earnhardt and the others a little time to get around the car number 7 of Alan Kulwicki, which let Rusty Wallace move ahead. But that car is really working. We had seen him take the lead from Alan Kulwicki earlier, so we know that he has a good fast car. Already lapping J.D. McDuffie in the blue car, the Rumpel Furniture car, as Rusty keeps it right down on the inside.
Rusty Wallace 53 points behind Earnhardt in the battle for the Winston Cup. Here is Bill Elliott in number 9, the Coors-sponsored Ford, and Harry Gant.
Bob, we saw Bill Elliott earlier, and he looked like he was backing up. Now they've made a pit stop. Bill Elliott has made an adjustment, and it looks to me like he's running a little bit better than he was earlier.
He'll go to the inside and try to pass Mark Martin. He'll go way inside and go to the left of J.D. McDuffie coming down the straightaway. He puts him away. And now Harry Gant battles on the outside of Bill Elliott in turn number 1.
Whoa, that was quite a chance that Harry Gant took, driving on the outside of Bill Elliott. Whoa.
Let's go to Dick Berggren, who has a report on Mark Martin.
Benny Parsons, you said Mark Martin was backing up. Indeed, he is. The problem is that the tires don't match anymore. The car is pushing its understeering. That is something that many of the competitors were concerned about here this morning. Why? Because all the practice, and in fact, even most of the testing that went on here at Darlington for this race, was done under conditions of hot, sunny weather. That produces a racetrack that's very slick. So they set the cars up to counteract that and try to push a little bit. But we've got an overcast sky today. We've got cool temperatures. Everybody this morning was worried about an understeer, and that is exactly what's bothering Mark Martin.
Well, he's maintaining his position at the moment. We're watching the back of his car from Harry Gant's in-car camera.
You know, Dick Berggren brought up a good point. That may be why Bill Elliott made all those changes this morning, was simply because of the weather.
There's the leader, Rusty Wallace. Let's go to Jerry Punch for a report.
Well, gentlemen, a lot of crews are trying to decide what kind of car to bring to Darlington. Do you bring a speedway car? Do you bring your intermediate track car? Or do you bring a short track car? Because you know you're probably going to get it dinged and beaten throughout the afternoon here as you bounce off cars in these tight corners. Well, Rusty Wallace brought the car that ran at Wilkesboro. In fact, he sat on the pole at Wilkesboro and Pocono and finished second at Pocono. It's the exact same car he raced last Saturday night at Bristol, Tennessee. In fact, they didn't even rub the tire mark up the side of it. So we'll bring the car down here to Darlington and we'll show them a short track car will run here. And I believe they're right.
Well, he's certainly looking good at the moment. Rusty leads the Heinz Southern 500, part of Race Day America here on ESPN, and we'll be right back. And we are now back live to Darlington, South Carolina, in the northeastern portion of the great state, and we are watching Darrell Waltrip's quest for $1 million. million. Darrell is still in 10th position. He has been in that spot for several laps and just playing it cool.
Yes, he's playing it cool, Bob, but he dropped back a couple of positions. He was in 8th a little while ago, and we have a report, Benny, that maybe his tires is going away a little bit.
I tell you what, his car does not look like it's handling that well now. Darrell Waltrip, I'm sure, very concerned. And look, Dale Earnhardt has gained considerably on Rusty Wallace. Meanwhile, those two cars have checked away from Jeff Bodine, who is running third, but we've got a good race heating up there for the lead.
A couple of cars made pit stops while we were away for the IndyCar start there. Dick Trickle had a flat tire, and so did Ernie Irvin. Both of those drivers made unscheduled pit stops, and the Lake Speed car, the Bullseye Barbecue car, about to come in for an unscheduled pit stop.
So you're watching first and second. There's second place, Dale Earnhardt, as he is in pursuit of Rusty Wallace, the leader of the Heinz Southern 500.
Did you see Dale Earnhardt down in the first? If we can just keep on these guys, these two cars. Watch Earnhardt, folks, when he goes down in turn 1 and goes right up against the outside retainer. Watch Earnhardt going down in turn 1. Watch just how close he goes up to that outside retaining wall. Dick Bergen, what's going on with Darrell Waltrip's tires?
What's really going on with Darrell Waltrip is going on with a lot of people here, and that is that they don't have the tire situation quite figured out for the racetrack. Waltrip is pushing a little bit, and believe it or not, so is the leader, Rusty Wallace. On the other hand, Bodine's crew says he's got exactly the opposite problem. He's running a little bit loose. Now realize this is just the beginning of the race, and they're really setting up for the end of the race, trying to figure this thing out. So they're trying different lines, trying different stagger combinations. They can play around with the wedge bolts. It's a long ways to go here, and nobody is thoroughly happy with the setup yet. Jerry Punch, what do you hear at your end of pit road?
Well, you know, Dick, Benny Parsons was talking about the groove that Dale Earnhardt is running, and you folks at home can see it when it goes into the corners. The car drifts all the way up against the wall. There's two reasons for that. One, the car is a little bit tight yet, and he can't quite get the car turned. I just talked to Richard Childress and said that they had the car set up for a hot day, a slick racetrack. Well, it's about 20 degrees cooler than it was yesterday, and the track has not gotten slick yet. The other reason, and most importantly, yesterday in the Busch Grand National race, Earnhardt found that groove up high and liked it. He said, hey, I'm going to run that groove all day tomorrow because if something happens to the car, I don't have far to go to smack the wall, and I can't get that hurt that close to the wall. So he's going to stay up there as long as he can, as long as it's beneficial to him running up through the wall. Bob?
All right, thank you, gentlemen, for the reports from the pit area. We continue to watch Dale Earnhardt close in on Rusty Wallace, and he's now within just a couple or 3 car lengths.
Well, Dale Earnhardt would like to lead this race, too, to get those 5 Winston Cup points that we talked about a little bit earlier, because he went into the race leading, and look how high, as Benny pointed out, he does go into that turn, but Benny does give him a good run off of the turn.
Gives him tremendous momentum to go down the back straightaway and make up a great deal of time. Watch him just close in on Wallace going in turn 3. He's now within just a couple of car lengths behind Rusty Wallace.
Now Wallace is on the high groove in the 3rd and 4th turns as we continue to keep the progress of Waltrip, and he may be slowing down. Sterling Marlin goes around on the outside. Now he picks it back up.
I think he just moved over and let Sterling Marlin go. Marlin had been running pretty close on his bumper for several laps. I think he decided to let it go. Now the car number 83 directly behind him is a lap down. He made an unscheduled pit stop. Ricky Rudd is the next car, as the green car, as far as position is concerned. Now the car number 83 of Lake Speed goes by. Here comes Ricky Rudd down on the inside. Darrell not fighting them, as Benny pointed out earlier. That car not handling quite as good as it was earlier. He wants the caution flag so he can get in the pits and get some new tires on the car.
That 83 car that we mentioned, that's driven today by Rodney Combs. Lake Speed drove the car on Thursday some, but turned it over to Rodney Combs, and he's driving the car today and doing a heck of a job.
As a matter of fact, Lake qualified it on Thursday and then turned second day qualifying over to Rodney, and he had the faster speed, and so Combs is starting that number 83 car. Darrell Waltrip is now back into 13th position as Dale Earnhardt makes a bid for the lead, and he just smokes Rusty Wallace.
Boy, he does. He just waited for the back end of that Pontiac to slip up a little bit, and he drove the Chevrolet right under it up in turn 4 and took the lead.
It looked almost like Rusty Wallace passing Alan Kulwicki just a few laps ago. Almost identical the same way.
Dale Earnhardt, the current leader in the battle for the Winston Cup. That also, of course, pays $1 million at the end of the season. He's taken the lead from Rusty Wallace, who is second in Winston Cup points at the moment. So we have a great Southern 500 here for you at Darlington Raceway on Race Day America, and we'll be right back. Back at the Heinz Southern 500, where Dale Earnhardt has the lead over Rusty Wallace. Alan Kulwicki third, Harry Gant fourth, and Mark Martin fifth. That's 57 of 367 laps completed, and there they are, the first two. Earnhardt in number 3 and Wallace in number 27.
You know, Dale Earnhardt caught Rusty Wallace, passed him, and you would expect him to drive away. But that's not happening. Why, Ned, you suppose?
Well, maybe, and I believe I started to say Wallace has picked up the line that Earnhardt was using, and maybe that's allowed him to pick up a little bit of speed, and just enough to let him keep up now.
All right, back in 12th position now is Darrell Waltrip. He has dropped from 9th, where he was running a few laps ago. Let's go to Dick Bergeron, who's with Jeff Hammond,
who's also a crew chief and a cameraman. Right here, you can see that little crew cam that he's wearing on there. Jeff, you guys are backing up a bit. What's the problem?
Right now, Dick, the set of tires we got on the car, presently, the front end sliding real bad. We can't get any front grip with the front tires to make the car turn in the middle of the corner. It's really a problem here at Darlington, because if you can't get the car to turn, you know, you got to wait on the throttle before you can pick it back up to get down the straightaways, and that really slows you down here. So I really hope we're cautious so we can work on the car and change the set of tires.
Well, this is Darlington. They can count on a caution. There are a lot of them at this racetrack.
Normally there are, however, we have only had one so far in the first 60 laps of this 367 lap event. Rusty Wallace looking to the inside of Dale Earnhardt there as they passed a slower car, but Wallace holds back into second position.
I think Ned's right. I think Rusty, when Earnhardt got by and saw the groove he was running in, moved up into that groove. Look, Mark Martin going by Kulwicki takes a spot away.
That is for 4th position as Mark Martin has gone into 4th. We're watching from Alan Kulwicki's car, the pole sitter for this race. Jeff Bodine is approaching from behind.
So Alan will have to keep his eye on him now that Mark Martin has moved around. And again, Kulwicki only took on 2 tires during the only pit stop they've made so far. He took on right side tires. Everyone else took on 4 tires, but now that might have equaled out to some degree, because all the tires now being heated up pretty good.
It does seem to have equaled out quite a bit, although it looks like Kulwicki would have been better off the first 15 or 20 laps if he'd had the left side. But we'll have to see. Maybe he was just trying to figure out to do something for later on in the race.
Mark Martin now in 4th, Kulwicki 5th.
The leading rookie contender, Dick Trickle, has just been in for another unscheduled pit stop. Dick's running good out on the racetrack, but he's had 2 unscheduled pit stops. It was announced here this week. He's been sort of on a race-to-race basis since he got the Stavola Brothers Miller ride back in the early part of the year when Mike Alexander was hurt, and Trickle was named this week to absolutely drive the car for the rest of the year.
Now we again see Rusty Wallace putting a great deal of pressure on Dale Earnhardt, trying to take the lead from him there in the second turn, but could not get the job done. There are 28 cars on the lead lap. You saw just a second ago there that the car that both Earnhardt and Wallace have just passed was Richard Petty. He is in 29th position. There he is in the STP Pontiac.
And that 62 car, the white car, that's driven today by Joe Ruttman, who has been driving the Lake Speed automobile, but this is a car that he's had to the racetrack one other time this year and brought it here to Darlington. Also, Dave Marcus, a blue car, the Lifeboy Chevrolet, being passed by both Earnhardt and Wallace. Earnhardt, the black number 3, Rusty Wallace, the white and green number 27.
Now that might be a classic example of the tires. Remember, not too long ago at the restart of this race, Dave Marcus was leading this race. He did not make a pit stop, but now he has gone a lap down.
All the way back to 27th and a lap down for Dave Marcus. Earnhardt continuing to lead with Rusty Wallace running in second position. And we are live at Darlington Raceway for Race Day America and the Heinz Southern 500. We'll be back with more live coverage after this. Benny Parsons, Ned Jarrett, Dick Bergeron, and Jerry Punch back at the Heinz Southern 500, where Dale Earnhardt is the leader and Rusty Wallace still running in second position. Jerry Punch has a comment on Dale Earnhardt's run.
Gentlemen, when Dale Earnhardt went to Michigan, the car he has here today is the car he had up there. It was a brand new race car. They were upset and in fact downright embarrassed about how well the car ran up there. They finished 17th, 2 laps down because of the carburetor problem. They came back here with a vengeance. He's got a pass to the lead. Looks like Rusty Wallace going to make a move. And Wallace has gone around Dale Earnhardt to take the lead. But Earnhardt said they wanted to make this car run here at Darlington. They want to show people it's a good race car. And they're trying it right now, although they're chasing Rusty Wallace in turn 2. Bob?
And he made it look just about as easy as Dale did a few laps ago.
Yes, he did. Dale's car slipped up just a little bit, and Rusty Wallace took advantage of it, moved right under.
And we'll give you a full field rundown here at the end of 65 laps as we are live at the Southern 500 in historic Darlington, South Carolina.
And watch Rusty. He's put 5 or 6 car lengths on Dale Earnhardt in the 1 lap. Maybe Earnhardt would have a problem. You reckon, Ned?
Might be. I think his tires are getting very worn right now, Benny. They've run, what, about 45 laps on this set of tires. So, and he's abused them pretty well, too, because he's run the car hard. I expect the tires are getting heated up on him.
There's the interval between the two. It is about 6 or 7 car lengths. Now you're watching those cars have already dropped out of the race, 3 of them. Let's go to Jerry Punch, who's with Kirk Shelmerdine, crew chief on the Dale Earnhardt car.
Well, let's check in with Kirk and see what the problem is. Kirk, is there a problem with the car, or do you have some concerns about the tire wear?
Well, that's what it is, Jerry. Dale says he feels like the tires are worn out. We don't feel like they are, but they are giving up pretty good. So he's going to not punish them this early in the race and kind of just ride along there until he gets some more on.
Dale Earnhardt trying to be smart and possibly win a Winston Cup title for the 4th time. Will not punish the car early on here at Darlington.
Former winner of this race, Dale Earnhardt. Now, gentlemen, when can we expect to see pit stops if we don't have any yellows here in the next few laps?
Well, with the tires going away the way they are, I would say in the next 5 or 6 laps, we'll probably be seeing some pit stops. And I tell you what, Harry Gant, Mark Martin, some of those guys we've been seeing, they are gaining on Rusty and Earnhardt. So the field is coming to our front 2 cars.
They haven't been running, even though they've been running hard, Benny, but they haven't run as hard as Rusty and Dale Earnhardt have. Larry Pearson coming into the pits right now in the Chattanooga Chute Buick. But with them running as hard as they've been running, those front 2 cars, they've abused their tires a little bit more than some of those others back there, so they might have to stop sooner.
We have a battle for 5th position as the 7 car of Alan Kulwicki, the 5 of Jeff Bodine, the 25 of Ken Schrader, the 9 of Bill Elliott, and the 84 car of Dick Trickle are all battling for position.
Dick Trickle is a couple laps down.
We ask Alan Kulwicki, Darrell has never won the race where you started on the pole. Do you think that that is an omen for today's event?
Well, if it is, I think it's over. You know, I think it's going to change this weekend. He's got to beat Earnhardt, Wallace, Harry Gant, Mark Martin, myself. I think he's got his work cut out for him. The odds of that happening 4 times are pretty slim.
And Kulwicki commenting on the fact that Darrell has won every race where he has started on the pole.
That is phenomenal, isn't it?
It really is.
Well, there he is running in 5th place right now, Alan Kulwicki. Right behind him, Jeff Bodine, who is running in the 6th position. Ken Schrader right behind the red car, right behind the yellow car of Jeff Bodine, and then comes Bill Elliott.
Dick Trickle trying to go by Schrader and does go by him on the inside. But again, as Ned said, he's made a couple of pit stops, has fresher tires on than the fellows who we're seeing him go by.
And Rusty Wallace is coming in for a pit stop, so our leader is the first to indicate that it's time to get some new tires on that car.
And
here
boy,
comes Rusty Wallace.
There's other cars coming in as well.
They're going to do right side tires. They're going to do left side tires too with Rusty Wallace. That is usually an indication of a problem. If they would come in here now, no other cars coming down pit road too. They're all going to start coming in now. Apparently this is going to be a regular set of stops under the green flag. We're going to watch and see if Rusty can stay on the lead lap. Rusty still on pit road. 20 seconds and counting. Here goes Rusty. 21-28. Rusty Wallace.
So Wallace back out. Others that have come in for a pit stop include Rick Wilson, Ricky Rudd, and now here's Earnhardt. And Jerry Punch is there.
Dale Earnhardt brings the Goodrich Chevrolet, and it'll be right side tire change. Now, these are actually about 15 laps earlier than we would expect it, but the concern over the tire wear, you heard Kurt Shelmerdine call, is why they came in so early. They don't want to end up with half a race car into the outside wall here in Darlington. Left side tires going on the Goodrich Chevrolet. Crew, David Smith, Will Lynn, Kurt Shelmerdine, the car down 21.8 seconds, and a three-time champion heads back down pit road.
That is exactly.
And we got trouble over in turn 2.
Brett Bodine
is down against the wall over there. Let's see, he's going to get going. It might not bring out a caution, but he spun, it looked like, as he came off of turn 2. And Rusty Wallace did go a lap down to Harry Gant, who has taken over the lead when he made that 4-tire change.
Well, both Wallace and Earnhardt made pit stops in 21.8 seconds, and there will be no yellow flag apparently, as Bodine was, although he spun, able to get the car going again without an interruption. So Harry Gant is the leader in car number 33, with Mark Martin now running in second position and Alan Kulwicki third.
As Ned Jarrett said, Harry Gant did lap Rusty Wallace while Rusty was in the pits, but Rusty is only about 2 or 3 seconds behind Harry Gant, and with 4 fresh tires, you know he's trying his best to catch Harry and pass him before Harry makes his pit stop.
There you can see that is Rusty there in the middle of your screen, and Gant is on the left as he approaches a slower car here on the straightaway. So yes, indeed, Wallace is catching, and here comes Dale Earnhardt. He passes Joe Rutman in car 62.
Boy, those new tires make such a difference when you go into the turn. It feels so good. Now Earnhardt actually, and there's trouble.
Jimmy Spencer is in the wall in turn number 3, scraping against it, staying up high on the racetrack. This will undoubtedly bring out a caution flag, although we don't see one at the moment.
Rusty Wallace has gotten by Harry again as we watch Jimmy Spencer. He stopped up against and there are the caution flags, and Earnhardt beats him back as well.
Yep, Earnhardt just barely beats him back, just by inches.
Look at the damage here on the right side of the Derek Cope car, number 10. There's a considerable amount of damage.
Yeah, that happened earlier, Bob. He was in the pits just a few laps ago, and they did some work on that automobile, so that happened about the same time that Brett Bodine spun over in turn 2.
So the caution is out once again for the second time this afternoon. They go to work on the Cope car, changing tires on the left side. Jimmy Spencer's car was stalled against the wall over in turn number 4. However, he has gotten it started again and is coming around. And now we'll replay the race to the line.
Okay, well, there's Harry Gant, the leader. Rusty Wallace had already gotten by him, and here's Earnhardt down on the inside with those new tires. He got a good run off of turn 4, and you'll see him at the stripe that he beats him by maybe about 2 feet. The stripe coming up, start-finish line, right there. Not much.
That was close.
And that's just how close. Look at Harry Gant in the pits changing the tires, but that's how close it come to winning or losing a race.
Let's go to Dick Berggren for this Gant pit stop.
Well, Harry Gant was the first one down pit road, but he's not going to be the first one to leave. Rick Wilson is. He's going to be the first one on the racetrack. But Gant is now out. Brett Bodine is ahead of him. Labonte is going to follow him out. Mark Martin and Jeff Bodine. Meanwhile, Waltrip is still on the pit road with left side tires. Jerry, a lot of action where you are.
So the cars now begin to go out of the pit area as everybody has completed his pit stop for the afternoon, although there's a lot of activity on the backstretch pits. Back at the Heinz Southern 500, where Rusty Wallace has the lead once again, with Dale Earnhardt in second, Harry Gant third, Jeff Bodine fourth, and Mark Martin in fifth. We are under caution with 85 of 367 laps completed, and we are cautioned because Jimmy Spencer scraped against the wall up in the third and fourth turns, and we are about to go green once again.
Rusty Wallace and Dale Earnhardt both made unscheduled stops early and changed 4 tires on the green. They decided to stay out now under the caution flag. We'll see if that was smart or
they didn't run too many laps, Benny, on those tires, so I think it was smart. Rather than give up track position, see, they had to go all the way around and catch up to the field, so they'd given up a lot of track position had they come into the pits, and since they had only run a few laps on those tires, I think it was smart for them to stay out there.
Either way, Darrell Waltrip is shown in 17th. Make that 9th position at the moment. Darrell Waltrip is in 9th as we begin once again under race conditions at the Heinz Southern 500.
Earnhardt already up on the high side of the track in turn 1. Rusty Wallace with those newer tires stayed down on the inside. Running in 3rd position right now is Alan Kowicki. Bill Elliott is 4th and Ken Schrader 5th. Earnhardt now trying to move up on Rusty Wallace. Coming off the turn 4. And here's Rusty Wallace going high, and Earnhardt trying to make a bid down on the inside. Wallace slips just a little bit. That's all the room Dale Earnhardt needed. And he'll race him down the backstretch into turn 3 and will take the position. Car number 15 of Brett Bodine is a lap down. Rick Wilson also in car number 4 back there had made a green flag pit stop, so he's a lap down as well.
Well, we have just seen some great racing here in the first almost 90 laps of this race, and most of it has been between Earnhardt and Wallace. These guys appear to have cars that are just about equally prepared, and we've seen some great stuff already.
We certainly have, Bob, and I think another car that's about equal to them is Harry Gant. We haven't seen that much of him. However, he did take over the lead when those two made their green flag pit stops, but Harry Gant is running very well here today. We're looking out the front windshield of his car. That's Ricky Rudd in front of him. Gant now running in the third position.
Right.
Harry tried to go underneath the Ricky Rudd car. He points to him and says, "Hey, let me go by," hoping that Rudd was looking in the rearview mirror.
Well, Ricky is a lap down. He had made a pit stop under green just about the time Dale Earnhardt and Ricky Rudd did. Rusty Wallace did. So that puts Ricky a lap down.
There are Earnhardt and Wallace once again. That's Brett Bodine in car number 15, who is a lap car and spun over in turn number 2 earlier in the race, but kept going.
Brett Bodine able to run with those drivers. Here's Rusty Wallace now trying to make a move down on the inside, like Earnhardt did not too long ago, but couldn't quite do it. Well, maybe he's going to race him down the backstretch. Can he do it? Going into turn 3. Earnhardt has to back off, so Rusty retakes the lead. But look at Earnhardt come back on the inside.
And I love it. Rusty, stop that.
And Earnhardt knew that Rusty Wallace was going to slide high going into that turn, and Earnhardt said, "Okay, I'll just move right back past him," and he did. So now Rusty's got to do it all over again. He's just got to try.
He looks to the inside once again in the second corner, but decides this time not to make a bid.
Well, his back end got a little bit loose since he came off of that turn. Here goes Rick Wilson bumping Brett Bodine just a little bit. And there's Dick Trickle, car number 84. All of those cars are 1 or more laps down. Trickle is at least 2 laps down. He made 2 unscheduled pit stops under green flag conditions. And look at the back of that pack is Harry Gant. You can see him coming up, the green car coming up behind him. Dale Earnhardt using that high line once again, making it work for him. And then he just seems to be able to do that so easy in turns 1 and 2 in particular.
But you know, Ned, it really is fun. It's fun when you go up against that wall and the car gets a good bite and you're able to get around the racetrack. It is fun. And Earnhardt pulling away from Rusty Wallace a little bit.
So with his momentum coming off of those turns, seems to be working for him.
Oh, and Petty has a problem. Richard Petty, car is slowing the STP Pontiac, not up to full speed here on the main straightaway.
Looks like he might have an engine problem. There is some smoke from under the car, not a great deal of smoke. He's down on the inside.
The NASCAR officials looked him over as he came down the front straightaway to see if there was any oil coming from the car. They didn't see any, so the caution is not coming out right now as we see Richard Petty, 7-time Winston Cup champion, going into the pits. Boy, what a tough year he's had. He missed the race last week at Bristol, simply didn't run fast enough to qualify, as he had missed 3 earlier in the year, and now going out of this Heinz Southern 500 rather early. And you see Dale Inman, the crew chief on his car, talking to Richard on the radio. Most of the crew members went back behind the wall, so apparently they figured that it is a terminal situation, but Teddy will bring him to a halt there. Now Dale Inman motions for him to take her behind the wall.
Never seen Dale Earnhardt and Rusty Wallace continue their battle.
Well, for a moment, Earnhardt had pulled away about 10 car lengths, but it seems like that has stabilized a little bit. Rick Wilson in the yellow car running in third place on the racetrack, but he is one lap down.
As we're watching Rusty Wallace trying desperately to gain on Dale Earnhardt, and I tell you, there's nobody that runs any harder than these two. Dale Earnhardt and Rusty Wallace. Wallace, we've seen him all year. The rear wheel spinning. Rusty, can your driving style last for 500 miles a year?
I don't know. You know, it's just the way I drive. I guess people say I'm aggressive. In the car, I just try to drive a car as hard as it'll go, and sometimes it looks aggressive, but I'm not going to change my driving style any, if that's what you're asking. No.
No, he's not going to change that driving style. He's going to drive as hard as it'll go all day.
And so Rusty Wallace is in second position behind Dale Earnhardt on Race Day America at the Heinz Southern 500. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Darlington International Raceway in South Carolina. We're live for the Southern 500, part of Race Day America here on ESPN. Our Speed World coverage is being brought to you by Pontiac and your Pontiac dealer. We build excitement. By Levi's 505 and 506 jeans. And by the First Name and Filters Purolator, exceptional protection for exceptional vehicles like yours. And we are live at the Heinz Southern 500 Race Day America. I'm Bob Jenkins. We're covering Indy cars, IMSA racing, vintage racing, and we're also covering the Big Bud Shootout from Indianapolis Raceway Park for you this afternoon. It's going on there at that facility. A huge crowd is on hand, as usual, at Indianapolis Raceway Park, as the first round of the Big Bud Shootout gets set to go. Now, in race number 2 in the first round of competition, that is Mike Dunn in the far lane, and in the near lane is Don the Snake Prudhomme. Many feel that he's going to win the Big Bud Shootout, and he does indeed advance to round number 2. There in the first round, he puts away Mike Dunn, who had a little bit of an oil fire in that car as he crossed this finish line. Now we move to other first round action. It's Kenny Bernstein against John Force. And we see that John Force just edges out Kenny Bernstein with an ET of 5.38. So in round number 2, it'll be Don Prudhomme against Bruce Larson and John Force against Mark Oswald. So that is the story of the Big Bud Shootout, and now we go back to Darlington and the Heinz Southern 500.
And the story here is Dale Earnhardt and Rusty Wallace. You can see the two on the screen. Dale Earnhardt in the black car number 3 is leading. Rusty Wallace not too far behind, but Wallace has not been able to do anything with him here in the last 10 laps.
And I'm telling you, it's been Dale Earnhardt and Rusty Wallace, but Harry Gantnet is coming. He is gaining ever so slightly. He's now even close. There he is, just about 15 car lengths behind Rusty Wallace and gaining every lap.
He had a lot of traffic to come through on the restart of this race, and now he is beginning to gun down Rusty Wallace. We watch from his in-car camera. There he is again, and you can see Rusty out in front of him. 18 cars now in the lead lap. Running in the 4th position is Mark Martin. 5th is Jeff Bodine. 6th, Bill Elliott. 7th, Ken Prater. 8th is Alan Kowicki. 9th, Sterling Marlin. Darrell Waltrip running 10th. Hutch Strickland, a good run, running 11th. 12th is Morgan Shepherd. Kyle Petty, 13th. 14th is Michael Waltrip. 15th, Phil Parsons. Davey Allison, 16th. Neil Bonnet, 17th. And Dale Jarrett running in the 18th position. All those cars in the lead lap. Rick Wilson running 19th, 1 lap down.
We've got a 3-car race shaping up here, don't we, gentlemen? Boy, Harry is really closing on Rusty. That's going to be a battle for second position here in just a moment as they go to the high side of the track and pass some of the slower cars, including Jimmy Means. Look how close Harry is, though.
He drives this track as well as anybody that I've seen come along in a long time. David Pearson was an absolute master at this track for so many years and won a lot of races. And Harry Dent, in recent years, has been a fellow that just has adapted to this track. Of course, we mentioned he won yesterday. He has 3 wins here, 2 Trans-South 500s, and also he won the 85 Southern 500 here. As for Morrill, then let's go down to the pits. Dr. Jerry Punch.
And then I was talking to Harry earlier today and I asked him about the race car. He said, well, we got Alf here, the car we won, the Trans-South 500 back in April. But I said, Harry, what's the secret that you're running so well here? You run so well at this racetrack. And Rusty Wallace now corrects it. He's wagging the tail a little bit in his Pontiac, trying to stay in front again. But I asked Harry, I said, what's the secret? Why do you run so well here? Harry said, I never put my foot on the brake. I almost never use brakes here. I don't, we get good gas mileage because I don't burn the brakes up. Brakes cause heat, and you have to use energy to overcome the heat. Therefore, we get great gas mileage. I just take the car going in the corner, I let off early, I get to the point in the corner, jump back in the throttle, and off I go. I never use the brake pedal here. It's much easier on the tires, and also much easier on the chassis. That's what Harry again told me is his secret to running well in Darlington. It's running awful well right now.
Jerry Bunch, don't you dare buy a used car from that man. Because he has fed you alive.
You can't do it, huh, Benny?
You can't do it, no.
But I have heard him say that very same thing, too.
Well, he fed you one, too,
well,
Ben.
I bought it. I did.
By the way, we might point out that our astute colleagues here in the booth have both competed here at this racetrack and done very well. Benny Parsons won the Trans-South 578 in his very first start here in the Rebel 400 in 1970. Benny finished 5th, and Ed Jarrett, how about this, won the Southern 500 by the largest margin in history, 14 laps in 1965.
Boy, I was flat running that
Boy,
day.
you were. You were running the wheels off everybody.
Well, the truth of the matter is that everybody had trouble that day, but we were very thankful to win that day.
Isn't that the day that Cale went out of the ballpark down here?
Sure did. Went right over turn one. The guardrail that was there at that time went right out of the ballpark.
Well, there's a lot of history associated with this race, and anybody who can put it in their win column certainly has accomplished a lot. And at the moment, Dale Earnhardt is the leader of this race, but we're concentrating on the battle for second position between Rusty Wallace and Harry Gant. Now, Darrell Waltrip has slid back to 15th position at the moment.
Watch Harry Gant. It's going through turn 1 and 2. If we'll stay with this in-car camera down in 3 and 4, in qualifying and all the practice, most of these cars run flat out through 3 and 4. There, Harry Gant's going in turn 3. Now listen. Listen to the accelerator. You're in back off?
Back off.
You're in the race now. You cannot run through there wide open.
Track's flicker now, and of course you don't want to take that chance either. And usually when you qualify, you got a brand new set of tires on there, and they'll stick good for a lap or two. Gant now using that line similar to what we've seen Earnhardt use here most of the day. Going in turn 1, going up high, and then back down.
He's not able to do anything with Rusty, but the two of them, Rusty Wallace and Harry Gant, seem to be gaining just a little bit on Dale Earnhardt.
Just some great shots from inside Harry Gant's car as he is looking for a way around Rusty Wallace, but has not been able to capitalize on the situation yet.
Fellas, the sun has come out here at Darlington. It's been in and out, but I think that it's the sunniest it's been here since we started the race, and that might make a difference in the handling characteristics of some of these cars.
Here are the guys that have led so far. Kawicki, Wallace, Marcus, Earnhardt, Gant, and Neil Bonnet also has led a lap this afternoon, and 3 cars have dropped out of competition: James Hilton, Greg Sachs, and Jimmy Spencer. Spencer responsible for our second caution period of the afternoon a few laps ago.
And that shot you're seeing now is from the back of Harry Gant's car. He got by Rusty Wallace going in turn 3, drove by him. Harry Gant now in second place.
So Gant now will try to chase down Dale Earnhardt, who is the leader of this Heinz Southern 500. As he has been able to pass Rusty Wallace and go into second.
And of course, we can add Richard Bailey's name to that out of the race situation. We saw him go out with an engine problem a little earlier.
We're 112 laps into this 367-lap race. And so far, it has been, for the most part, all Dale Earnhardt. He's the leader right now, and we'll take another break and be right back with more live coverage on Race Day America 1989. The winner of the Heinz Southern 500 will walk off with a lot of money, but the guys with most money at stake, Darrell Waltrip, who could win $1 million, currently is running in 15th position, and Alan Kawicki, who would be eligible for $144,400 in the Unicount Challenge money at the moment, is in 8th.
So both of them still, of course, in the lead lap and in position to win. And here we see Bill Elliott and Alan Kawicki, car number 7. Elliott running in the 7th position, Alan Kawicki running in 8th position.
That's Bodine and Schrader ahead of them. inside Alan Kulwicki's car as he's right behind Bill Elliott.
And Ken Schrader in the red car trying to pass his teammate Jeff Bodine. I say teammate, they're both those cars owned by Rick Hendrick. And we're looking out the windshield of Alan Kulwicki once again as he sees what Bill Elliott is doing, coming off the turn 4 and down the front straightaway.
There we see Schrader and Bodine bumper to bumper. Rick Hendrick able to see both of his cars in the same shot.
Well, we asked both Jeff Bodine and Ken Schrader, would you give Darrell Waltrip a break if you're leading and he's second late in this race?
He's going to have to work his butt off to get by me because I'm out there to win. I put this uniform on and I climb in that car for one reason, and that's to win. And I think it would be against the, it'd be a hypocritical oath against race drivers if you let somebody else win. If you moved over just to let him win to get that little bonus.
If we're running first and he's behind me running second, he better be fast enough to catch me and pass me because he didn't move over for me at Daytona.
I guess what they're saying is there are no team orders in the Rick Hendrick stable.
No, I guess not.
I tell you what, I asked his brother Michael, I said, Michael, would you give Darrell a break, you know, with 5 laps to go if you were leading the race? He said, he's in big trouble.
I think it's pretty much agreed that everybody is going to try their best to keep from wrecking Darrell Waltrip and getting in his way. But when it comes down to a chance of winning the race, nobody is going to give it to Darrell.
No, that's right. He's going to have to, the old-fashioned way, he's going to have to earn it.
Now we've come back here to Darlington, South Carolina, and the Heinz Southern 500, and you can see the storm clouds gathering overhead. Here are the top 5 at the moment. It's Dale Earnhardt leading with Rusty Wallace running in second position. Harry Gant is third, Jeff Bodine fourth, Bill Elliott fifth. 159 of 367 laps completed. On Speed Week last Thursday night, we asked you to respond to us. Do you think that Darrell Waltrip will win here this afternoon and the Winston Million? And you can see that almost 73% of you said, yes, we think he can win the Winston Million, and 27% of you said no. Well, he's got a long uphill battle because Darrell Waltrip is a lap down in 16th position at the moment. The leader is Dale Earnhardt, and there is Darrell, who is beginning to move up a little bit.
Yeah, with those new tires on, he just moved around Rusty Wallace. Harry Gant just passed Rusty Wallace for second place. Now Waltrip really on the move, trying to catch both Harry Gant and Dale Earnhardt to put himself back in the lead lap.
Darrell Waltrip has never tried any harder in a race than he's driving right now. His car is not that fast today. It's not fast enough to be up there where he is now. He's only carrying his car on adrenaline right now.
Well, he's running hard, no question about it. Now, I mentioned a moment ago that maybe going as long as he did before he changed tires hurt him at that point. Now, if this race goes green for a while, that might work to his advantage because he'll have pressure tires for a longer period of time.
Well, don't go away, friends. He is far from out of this race, and we are not quite halfway through this Southern 500. There is Gant, who is running now in the third position.
He's running in
second position, I'm sorry.
He moved around Rusty Wallace a few laps ago. That looks like a long distance there. Here's Sterling Marlin driving around Dale Earnhardt, and that'll put him back in the lead lap. Sterling currently running in the 14th position.
Earnhardt is coming in. He drops off the banking in the third and fourth turns, and Dale Earnhardt, the leader of the race, comes in. Jerry Punch will describe what the crew does.
Dale Earnhardt is running it up, coming in, so apparently he must have a tire going down. The crew just were put a call waiting for him to shuffle on the pit road. Right side tire going on the car. Kurt Shelberdine, David Smith and the crew now changing right side tires. Can of fuel in the car, waiting for the right rear, and now the car down off the jacket away. Over 12 seconds, Earnhardt down the way, but a costly unscheduled stop for a right side tire going down on the Goodrich Chevrolet.
And again, the clock may say 12.2 seconds, but you got to get a lot of acceleration and deceleration time.
Well, let's see if he's going to be able, he might be able to stay in the lead lap as Harry Gant, who now has taken over the lead, comes off of starts off turn 2. Earnhardt gets his speed up. He will stay in the lead lap. Now, Darrell Waltrip is right on the back bumper of Harry Gant, or about 3 or 4 car lengths behind him. He would like to catch him and pass him, so he would be back in the lead lap. There we see Gant. Waltrip hasn't come into the picture yet, but he's not too far behind Gant now the leader of this Heinz Southern 500. There's Waltrip. Boy, he would like to catch up to Gant. Pass him. Then if a caution should come out, he'd be back in the lead lane.
Let's go to Jerry Punch. What's that tire look like that came off Dale's car, Jerry?
Well, it's the right rear tire, Bob, and exactly right here is where the Goodyear engineers have marked it. There's a big puncture wound here, and I can feel the air coming out against my hand, holding my hand off the tire. He got a cut in the right rear tire. It could have been a lot worse. This tire could have been going down further, and he could have slammed the wall. But Earnhardt felt the vibration right away and called the crew and dove down pit road. So a good move on Earnhardt's part to keep the car in the race.
Okay, so Dale Earnhardt does stay in the lead lap with Gant leading. 500 miles at Darlington can be quite exhausting, and staying comfortable is the subject of this week's Track Fact. Track Facts are brought to you by Quaker State Motor Oil. The big Q stands for quality, always has, always will.
One of the areas of stock car racing that has really advanced in the last several years is the driver comfort or driver safety. In the past, drivers were burning their feet a lot during the long races. The exhaust runs just a few inches below the floorboard here, and the exhaust temperature is around 1,600 degrees. In the past, we just had bare metal on the floor pan, and the driver would put the insulation on the heels or soles of his shoes. Then we started putting a piece of plywood under there for him to rest his feet on. Then later it got to where we were wrapping the plywood with asbestos. That still didn't do the job. Finally, the people at NASA came up with a special installation that they use on the space shuttle. Started putting that in the floor pan of the race cars. No more hot foot.
Well, it was hot and humid here at Darlington the past couple of days, but it's cooler this afternoon because of a cloud cover over Darlington Raceway. They're the top 5 at the end of 170 laps, and we'll be right back. We are back live at the Heinz Southern 500, and as we went into this race, here were the top 5 in the Winston Cup point standings, and this is how they're running. Dale Earnhardt was a points leader. He's now running 10th. Rusty Wallace was second, is running second. Mark Martin, third in points, is now 5th. Darrell Waltrip is now 14th, and Davey Allison is 24th. The weather, as you can see, is looking pretty ominous. The clouds are moving in. However, there are only 9 more laps before we reach the halfway point, and of course it should rain after that. Then we have a complete race.
Bob Jenkins, we saw that sign when we went away to break and said, "Happy birthday, Courtney." All the ESPN crew, the truck, all the camera people want to say happy birthday to Bob Jenkins. When is it, tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow's my birthday.
You're
going to be what?
Birthday. Here's Earnhardt picking up another spot. That moves him around Morgan Shepherd and now puts him in the 8th position. He's moving.
But Morgan comes back. Oh, they almost touched coming off turn 4.
Earnhardt is trying to get back up front after an unscheduled pit stop for a cut tire. But he is moving well.
He stayed in the lead lap and has picked up a number of positions. That's Alan Kowicki running right behind Morgan Shepherd. Alan Kowicki now running in the 9th position.
Gant, we understand, scraped the wall in turn number 2 just a few seconds ago. Did that hurt him? It did, apparently.
He slowed considerably. Brett Bodine, the Motorcraft Ford, has pulled up behind him. Let's watch in replay and see what happens.
Here is Gant now between turns 1 and 2. The car drifts high.
Just a little too high, and he put some extra scrapes on the wall. You can see the smoke. And he just got too high in the turn.
He just simply drove in the car in the corner too hard, got up in the outside retaining wall. The tire rubbed the wall, but it looks like he might have got lucky because the car seems to have picked up speed. He might have got lucky, just rubbed the wall, rubbed some sheet metal.
Boy, a close call for Harry Gant, though, who has been so good in this first half of this race. We'll see if he can continue the momentum with that car despite the problem there in the second turn. Jerry Punch.
I just asked Leo Jackson, the car owner, I said, "Is it Harry okay or is the car okay?" And Leo looked over and smiled a little bit and said, "Yeah." I said, "Just put a big old Darlington stripe on the side of the bandit there." So otherwise he's all right. So they're not going to bring him in now. Apparently the car running real well. Let's go down pit road to Nick Berger.
Well, Jerry Punch today is a real good opportunity to see which crews are the most clever, the most crafty, and the best predictors of weather. Because when the sun comes out, as it is right now, this racetrack has a tendency to be more loose. So, are we going to have sunshine? Are we going to have clouds? What are we going to do? That should determine what they do on pit stop. The other end of it is, we're going to see how clever the drivers are and how courageous they are as well.
because they're using all brand new tires on these pit stops, and because brand new tires have a tendency to resize, it is much less likely that they will have exactly the right tire combination. So most of the time when they go out, they're going to have something less than that, and that puts an extra burden on the drivers. Bob?
All right, thank you very much, Dick. Well, as you look at how they're running here at the Southern 500, we'll tell you that Darrell Waltrip in his quest for the $1 million is running 13th, 1 lap down. Harry Gant leads the Heinz Southern 500 here at Darlington Raceway with Rusty Wallace running second. Bill Elliott is third, Mark Martin fourth, and Jeff Bodine fifth, and will reach the halfway point next time around. And there is Gant lapping Rodney Combs in car number 83. Now running in second position is Rusty Wallace. He's maintaining that spot, but the car just doesn't seem to be working well.
No, he's not running as good as he was earlier in the race, Bob. In fact, he's about 9.5 seconds behind Harry Gant right now. As Alan Kulwicki now comes down pit road, I would say this is an unscheduled pit stop as we get the halfway mark, and Dr. Jerry Punch is there.
You're exactly correct, Dan. It is an unscheduled stop for the pole sitter. Kulwicki and Bill Engel and the crew will go beneath the hood of the car. Apparently they have an overheating problem. They have a hose in there connecting some more water to the car. Alan Kulwicki gets himself a cold drink, but the problem is in the engine compartment. Overheating now, steam pouring out the overflow, the radiator. They are trying to add water to the car and refuel the car. Also some smoke also out of the Darrell Waltrip car, we are told. So a tough break for two people who stood to gain a lot of money here at Darlington today. Kulwicki on the pit road with an overheating car and a pump of smoke coming out of the Tide Chevrolet. Tough break.
So the unit count challenge money may go to another race as 10th place Alan Kulwicki comes in, sits helplessly in his car as the crew works on the overheated engine.
I think Darrell Waltrip did exactly what Harry Gant did a little bit ago. I think he's run into the wall down in turn 1 and knocked the quarter panel in on the tire, because I see some damage on the right side of the Tide Chevrolet.
There is Waltrip. We'll see if there is any evidence of that smoke now. But Darrell is definitely having a struggle this afternoon. 13th, a lap down as he comes by here. We'll try to get a close look at it. Yeah, there is definitely some smoke coming from the tire.
Yeah, you can see it right there. As he went into the turn, there was a little bit of smoke came from it. Boy, he's not getting too close to the wall this time around.
But DW needs to go in the garage area, I mean the pit road, and get that quarter panel or fender knocked off that tire, because it doesn't take many laps to rub a hole through the tire.
And his pit crew is standing by waiting for him in case he does come in. I think they're going to leave it up to him. Say, okay, now you're driving the car. How does it feel? They're looking to see if he's coming off of turn 4 down pit road. They're out there ready to go, but not that time.
Dick, what do you hear down there?
I just talked to Jeff Hammond, the crew chief, and he says they're not going to bring him in right away. He says it's not that bad. They're going to let it go. So Waltrip continues to rotate out there. And I'm going to tell you, when that thing first happened, the smiles in this pit turned to absolute frowns. But now everybody is just leaning on pit wall. Very, very tense in the Waltrip Tide pit right now.
Well, he doesn't seem to be running much slower than he was a few laps ago before it happened.
No, I think his speed is still there, okay, and as long as the sheet metal don't rub the hole in the tire, well, then he's going to be okay. Let's say that Terry Labonte has gone into the garage area, out of the race in the Budweiser Ford.
Tough day for the Junior Johnson crew. Meanwhile, here is Harry Gant in car number 33, who is the leader of the Heinz Southern 500 from Darlington Raceway. We'll be right back.
Right now, there's a little bit of smoke showing from under the hood. NASCAR said bring him in just at the same time Jeff Hammond decided to bring him in. Damage to the right front. He has twice and scraped the wall. Waltrip sits in the pits, and the motor is dead on that automobile at this point. It does not appear to be running at all. So there it is. Now he's got it fired up again. They're looking underneath the car to see what other problems they might have. And there goes Waltrip.
Well, the crowd releasing its emotions. Some are cheering, some are very sad that Darrell Waltrip has had to come in for that unscheduled pit stop after bumping the wall. And here is a replay of that incident.
He's running right in front of Brett Bodine, and you can see him slipping closer and closer up to the wall, and there he goes into it.
And he almost spun the car as he come off the wall. Oh, we see a lot of smoke in the left rear. Yes, the left rear rubbing that quarter panel badly coming off turn 4.
just not going the way that Darrell Waltrip wants things to go. He's down 2 laps now, and there's a lot of smoke coming from the car.
But see, that's coming from the left rear, because when he hit the wall, he's knocked the rear housing over, and the left tire is rubbing. They didn't look at that side. Dick Bergen, what do they know the left rear is rubbing?
Waltrip is going to be coming in again. The tire that took off the car is really bent, Benny. You know, the outside rim is bent in, and that means that he's hit the wall very hard. Waltrip's crew is going to bring him in again. You're watching $1 million go away.
Well, here comes Waltrip, and here comes Wallace just ahead of him. So Rusty Wallace, our second-place car, is in for a pit stop on lap number 194. Dick Berggren, call both of them.
I will indeed. Here is Rusty Wallace. He's in at exactly the same time as Darrell Waltrip. Waltrip asked for a drink. Rusty Wallace asked for 4 tires. They're going to put 2 more tires on Waltrip's car. They're banging the left side out so that tire will clear. Waltrip's car must be severely damaged in order for this to be happening. Meanwhile, Rusty Wallace still on pit road, taking a 4-tire change. Service also continues on Waltrip's car. Waltrip leads, and so does Wallace.
They leave the pits at exactly the same time, but because Rusty stopped further down the track, he will be the first onto the racetrack.
You have to stay below that yellow line until they get onto the backstretch and blend into the traffic. And both of them did, of course, stay down there. Didn't violate any rules.
So now Rusty Wallace a lap down. Darrell Waltrip 2 or 3 laps down. Here's Harry Gant, our leader, continuing around the racetrack. Jerry Punch, have you learned something about Harry Gant?
Well, the crew is scrambling around here. They have 2 tires up on the wall, getting ready possibly to bring Gant in. Gant radioed in and said when he tapped the wall about 15 laps ago, he may have bent the toe in the right front. They're concerned about possibly blistering the right front tire because of toe in, meaning the right front tire is not pointed straight ahead. It's actually towed in to the front of the car. So they are ready to bring Gant in with the next 5 or 6 laps if he would need to come in earlier. He actually could go to about lap 210 according to fuel mileage, but they don't want to risk it, him possibly blowing the tire and hitting the wall here at Darlington.
Well, fellas, Darrell Waltrip's problems have not ended. Look at the smoke that's coming from the left rear of the tied Chevrolet. They didn't, when they changed those tires, that didn't cure his problem. Benny, I think you're right. I think when he hit the wall, he knocked the rear end over into the sheet metal on the left side, and it looks like tire smoke coming from the left side of the car.
Now, is this going to be something that will take a while to fix?
Yes, they just simply can't beat the sheet metal out enough. They probably will have to go and adjust the bar on the rear of the race car, and we'll show you, we have a track back later on, we'll show you the bar that I'm talking about where you can move that rear end back and forth.
Just a lot of smoke coming from the left rear of the tied machine, and Darrell Waltrip is seeing his chances of winning $1 million go up in smoke, literally.
Yes, he is. He's given it a valiant effort, but it's just not going to be today, little one.
So Darrell Waltrip is struggling here in the middle stages of the Heinz Southern 500 at Darlington. We have completed 199 laps. Next time by, it'll be 200. There'll be 167 to go. And there is the leader of the race, Harry Gant, who is looking very, very strong. In second position now is Bill Elliott. And here comes Gant in for a pit stop. So the leader is on his way to pit road. And Jerry Punch will have this stop by Harry Gant.
Harry Gant follows Ricky Rudd down pit road. Gant pitting about 11 laps early. They were hoping to wait, possibly get a caution because of the problem with the Darrell Waltrip car, showing a lot of smoke still. Crew working on the right side of the car. Andy Petrie, Charlie Presley, Leo Jackson, and the rest of the Skoll crew changing right side tires on the Skoll Oldsmobile. Now, Charlie Presley comes around to the left side. Will slam the jack from inside car. Left side of the car. Gant throws the cup out of the window. Second can fuel already in. Darrell Waltrip also coming back on the pit road as Ricky Rudd and Larry Pearson engine. Now Gant's car is down and away. He will move down pit road as Darrell Waltrip comes back in. 21.9 seconds for Harry Gant. Let's get Dick Berger in the tie pit. Dick.
Well, they're working on the left rear, and they really need to work on the left rear, Jerry Punch, because it is flat as a pancake. The damage here is such that the tire wore a hole in itself. They're banging away at that fender, trying to square it away. But Benny Parsons, the question I have is, if he's hit that thing so hard he's bent the rear end over, it is not also likely the rear end is crooked in the car. Because if it is, this thing is going to be about impossible to drive.
The car's going to be awfully hard to drive, Dick Bergen, because I'm sure he's knocked the housing over at least a half inch. We see him putting it, and Jeff Bodine is right in front of Darrell Waltrip making his pit stop for 4 tires. There they go around to the left side. The tires come off. They're still working on the Waltrip car. Still working. There, he's finally back away. And Jeff Bodine follows him out of the pits.
So 2 Hendrick cars now move back out onto the racetrack, and Darrell Waltrip will see if they did correct that problem. Doesn't appear to be any smoke coming from the left rear of that car now, but we will wait and see. A term you've heard a lot about here in the last few weeks is Heinz joint, and Benny Parsons can explain and show us what it is. Track Facts are brought to you by the Robert Bosch Corporation, makers of Bosch Platinum, the ultimate spark plug.
You know, folks, it seems like for the last 3 weeks, all we've been talking about are Heinz joints, spherical rod bearings or rod ends, whatever you want to call them. I'm going to call them Heinz joints because that's what most of the Winston Cup mechanics call them, Heinz joints. Now we're going to try to put this thing to bed forever. We're going to show you where they go on the race car. First of all, the carburetor linkage. Here, a right hand and a left hand, with a rod in between so you can adjust the accelerator back and forth in case you do need to adjust it, and most of the time you do with every engine change. And now let's go to the front stabilizer bar. This is the Heinz joint that they use on the front stabilizer bar. This piece down here, you see it hooks the front stabilizer bar to the front suspension. And again, a right hand and a left hand with a sleeve in between so we can adjust back and forth for whatever adjustment we may need. Now let's go to the rear of the car. That's where they use these big Heinz joints, $75 a piece that these babies cost. And they go back on the rear stabilizer bar. You see a right hand on this side, a left hand on the other, the long sleeve in between so we can adjust the rear housing back and forth. You know, this week, Kathy Venturini made fun of me. I saw her in Chicago. She said even a girl knows what a Heinz joint is. You see, Kathy, I knew what a Heinz joint was. I had no idea how to explain to the people. Better we show them.
And now we know. Pit stops are being made here at the Heinz Southern 500. Ken Schrader is in. Jerry Punch reports.
Well, they've already changed right side tires on the Folger Chevrolet. Bill Elliott just came in a minute ago and got 4 tires. He has gone back out to Schrader. Schrader was the leader because Bill Elliott has pitted. Now Kenny Schrader is out and away in the Folger Chevrolet. Him coming off pit road will make Dale Earnhardt the leader.
Schrader moves back out. You can see that Waltrip's car is still in the pit area. And there is the new leader, Dale Earnhardt, in car number 3.
And they're, excuse me, Ned, but they're ready for him in the pits because I tell you what, these guys in the pits today are getting a workout because there's so much action on pit road.
Earnhardt's car a little bit squirrely there in the first and second turns. He keeps the car, though. Now he dives off the banking, and here comes Earnhardt in for a stop. Jerry Punch will report as Dale heads down pit road toward you.
Dale Earnhardt comes roaring in, will jump awfully fast. He jumps on the brake, he slides almost through his pits. He finally gets the car stopped. Ruffin Myers holding the gas can, will race up and put the gas can in. There will be 4 tires for Earnhardt. Likewise, the same change for Harry again. Bill Elliott and Kenny Schrader, a 4-tire change. Crew down the left side of the car. David Smith pumps the jack between the under the left side. Kirk Shelburne, the left front tire. Put that second can of fuel in. Clock now winding away on the Dale Earnhardt pit stop. 23.3 seconds, he is down and away. Let's go up pit road to Dick Berger.
Now, Jerry Punch, here's a $1 million tire. You can see where the tire has been rubbed away. This is off Darrell Waltrip's car. They just took this one off. They put another tire on. They ran a few laps. They just had to come in and take that one off, too, because they are still rubbing away at the right rear, left rear tires on Darrell Waltrip's car. Certainly is a disappointment. He has gone down laps. He is virtually out of it for the chance to win that $1 million today.
So Bill Elliott will still be the only driver to have won the Winston Million. He did it in '85. Darrell could have done it today, but it appears as if he will not. The lead is now in the hands once again of Harry Gant as we are live on Race Day America at the Heinz Southern 500. Welcome back to ESPN's coverage of Race Day America here on ESPN. Stock car racing here at Darlington. We've got Indy cars, we've got IMSA cars, and we've got the Big Bud Shootout at Indianapolis Raceway Park. Round 2 has been completed. Now we're set up for the finals. There is a lot of money at stake in this Big Bud Shootout. As a matter of fact, the winner will get $50,000. And you can see the huge crowd on hand at Indianapolis Raceway Park. Mark Oswald is in the near lane, and he is the defending champion of the Big Butt Shootout. In the far lane is John Force. The two cars stage. The green light goes on. They're close all the way down, but it's John Force winning with an ET of 5:37, and he goes to the finals. Now, in the other second round activity, it's Don Prudhomme with the inside lane going against the funny car points leader in NHRA competition, Bruce Larson. Don Prudhomme run a 5:17, and look, it's Bruce Larson who red lighted, and that gives the win to Don Prudhomme with a 5:28. He ran a 5:17 in the first round. He is the favorite to win, and his opponent in the finals will be John Force. Don Prudhomme and John Force in the Big Bud Shootout finals that we'll have later this afternoon here on ESPN. Right now, we go back to the Heinz Southern 500 in Darlington, South Carolina.
And Harry Gant still leading the race, but just a moment ago, Bob Jenkins, he got into the wall once again. We saw him get into the wall a little bit earlier. Let's watch him again as he goes into turn one. Benny, he just gets in there too high again.
And he hits it even harder this time than he did a little bit ago. Some pretty serious damage that time as we see the concrete fly as Harry Gant goes along the wall.
Now, Mark Martin, who was running right behind him, got by him and got back in the lead lap. Mark had gone a lap down on a pit stop, but Harry Gant still leading out there. But there's Mark Martin right in front of him. And Darrell Waltrip continues to have problems. He's back out on the racetrack.
You know, we overheard a radio conversation just a moment ago between Jeff Hammond and Darrell Waltrip. And Darrell Waltrip told Jeff Hammond his crew chief, I'd give $1 million to have his problem fixed.
Darrell Waltrip goes for the $1 million, but he's not going to make it on this Sunday afternoon at Darlington, South Carolina. We'll be back right after this. From all of us here at ESPN, a very safe and pleasant Labor Day weekend. We are live for Race Day America at the Southern 500 in Darlington, South Carolina. Our Speed World coverage is being brought to you by the Heartbeat of America, today's Chevrolet. By the Die Hard battery, now with more power when you need it most. And by Mr. Goodwrench. Mr. Goodwrench knows it's not just a car, it's your freedom. And we hope you're enjoying Race Day America as much as we are bringing it to you. Here at the Heinz Southern 500, it's Harry Gant who has the lead, but he's been into the wall more than once. Jerry Punch will report.
Well, Harry Gant's playing tag with the concrete up in turns 1 and 2, and the crew had talked to him about it. He said, hey, I just cannot get the car to turn the way I like it to. The car is so very tight, it will not turn in the corners. One of the crew members said back, hey, but you can't use the wall to turn it. Said, you know, that's going to wear out the race car. Harry sort of chuckled and said, we know that, but he's apologized to the guys for bouncing off the wall. Let's go up pit road to Dick Berggren.
Jerry Punch, I'm in Rusty Wallace pit, and they are watching the nose of their car very, very carefully. A few laps ago, they picked up a piece of plastic in the grill. There's a lot of plastic flying through the air. The fans apparently have let go here somehow or another, and a piece of it stuck in Wallace grill. That's where the air goes through to cool the car off, so they're worried, and they've instructed Wally, keep your eye on that temperature gauge. If it goes up, we got to fix it.
Well, you can see as he comes down the front straightaway, it does look like, as he passes car number 62 of Joe Ruttman, looked like there was a little something extra on that grill.
Looks like a little bit of plastic on the right side of the grill. Jeff Bird looked in the window of our booth a moment ago. Jeff Bird, one of the representatives of R.J. Reynolds, the Winston brand, who was going to give there. We see the plastic on the right side of the grill. Who was going to give away that $1 million prize to Darrell Waltrip. He came by and just said,
wipe
saved $1 million.
We'd like to remind you that as part of Race Day America, the Indy cars are running at the Red Roof Inns 200 at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. Now, that race is just about to end, but of course, we're not going to tell you who wins. You'll see that race in its entirety beginning at 5 o'clock Eastern Time this afternoon after the conclusion of our race. So the entire IndyCar race at 5 o'clock Eastern Time this afternoon, part of Race Day America on ESPN.
Well, here's our leader, Harry Gant, who still, even after those encounters with the wall, is still out there in the lead and running well.
Ned, does this remind, oh, Harry Gant's in the wall hard that time. Awfully hard in the wall in turn 1. Harry Gant, once again, Darrell Waltrip going very slow in the Tide Chevrolet. There's Harry, and he got in the wall extremely hard that time. Let's see if he's going to come in the pits or if he has some damage.
Yeah, he's going to come in, I believe. Well, maybe not. I thought he was slowing down. No, he stays up high on the banking and does not come in, but he did take quite a lick, and Darrell Waltrip is well off the pace just ahead of Harry Gant.
Well, Harry Gant leading, Rusty Wallace second there, 9 cars in the lead lap. Let's watch it again as Harry Gant goes into turn 1, what Benny Parsons was talking about, and Benny, he just slips up and wham, right into the wall.
I think all those black marks up there are his.
Ned, does this remind you of Darlington a few years ago? I mean, this is not like racing we've seen in the last 4 or 5 years. We're going back 10 years today.
Well, we are. But most of the Darlington strike came from turns 3 and 4 back in the earlier days. There was a guardrail all the way around, and you literally ran right up next to that guardrail. We have a caution on the track.
Yellow flag is out. There is oil apparently on the racetrack. Yeah, spinning over in turn number 2 is Larry Pearson. He may have hit that oil. That was the reason why the caution flag was being waved at the starter stand by Harold Kinder. Larry Pearson, rookie candidate, gets the Chattanooga Chew machine back headed in the right direction, but the yellow flag does come out for only the 3rd time this afternoon in 226 laps.
And I'll tell you, this will be a welcome caution period for a lot of drivers because they need some adjustments on some of those race cars as they were slipping and sliding around, and certainly for Harry Gant.
And here's the tail end of Larry Pearson's spin down to the apron of the racetrack in turn 2.
Larry has had a lot of problems here. He's been in and out the pits. He's had an overheating problem with the Chattanooga Chew Buick. He has run well, but he has made several unscheduled pit stops. And here's Harry Gant, the leader, and you can bet your bottom dollar he'll be coming into the pits.
We have a replay from the in-car camera of Gant into the fence.
Now watch this, folks. Oh, boy. Did he hit it hard or what?
He hit it harder than I thought he did.
But I'll tell you, he's a strong individual.
Here comes Gant now in for the pit stop, and just about everybody else will come in behind him. Jerry Punch will report on Harry's pit stop.
This is the break for Harry Gant. They were getting ready to bring him in anyway and check the car, so it will be a lengthy stop. They're going to check the toe in after they change the tires. Now the crew going to work. Charlie Presley puts the jack running to the right side of the car. Andy Petrie over to the right side. Leo Jackson, the car owner now, will check and beat out some of the sheet metal over there. They're wielding a sledgehammer, trying to beat the sheet metal out. Let's go up and check on Rusty Wallace's pit with Dick Berggren.
Jerry, they removed that piece of plastic from the front of the car. Barry Dodson, the crew chief, and Jack Man has already done the right side. Now they're getting ready to do the left side. Jimmy Maycar is the front tire man here. Up to you, Jerry.
Old crew now putting left side tires on Harry Gant's car. He is down and away. 4 tire change for Gant. They have beaten sheet metal out. Let's check back in with Dick Berggren. Dick?
What a drag race down the straightaway here to get out, and Gant beat him out. Gant has managed to beat Rusty Wallace out of the pits.
You know, from our camera there in the pit area, the left side of that number 33 car appears to be unscathed, but you can hardly see the number on the right side. Gant has been in the fence so many times. So we're under caution once again here in the Heinz Southern 500. And we'll resume our live coverage right after this. Here are the top 10 with 230 of 367 laps completed in the Heinz Southern 500. Harry Gant the leader, Rusty Wallace second, Jeff Bodine runs third, Bill Elliott fourth, and Dale Earnhardt is fifth. In sixth position is Ken Schrader. Mark Martin runs seventh, Ricky Rudd is eighth, Bobby Hillen ninth, and in 10th position is Sterling Marlin. There are 9 cars on the lead lap. And we are still under caution because of oil on the racetrack and a spin over in turn 2 involving Larry Pearson. There is Harry Gant the leader, and here is Darrell Waltrip, who is catching up with the field after having come in for another pit stop. And Darrell has pretty much now seen his chances of winning the $1 million go away.
Yep, I think it's gone down the drain now.
There is Harry Gant.
Well,
and you can see now the left side appears to be okay, but look at the right side.
Oh, he's worn that right side out. That's the way you used to do them here, Benny. You're right. Many years ago, before they changed the track in turns 3 and 4, you just literally ran right up next to the guardrail. And if you didn't wear your car out and look about like that, you was not getting around this racetrack at a very good speed. But that's all supposed to have changed over the years, but Harry Gant apparently didn't tell him.
It's not changed for Harry.
Rusty Wallace did beat Harry Gant out of the pit, so Rusty is going to be the leader when we go back to green at the Southern 500. That will be in just a moment. There's his profile, at least. He now, of course, is a car owner. Hello, Cale, of Dale Jarrett's car. And Dale's a couple of laps down, but still in the top 20. Now, Rusty Wallace will be the leader when we go back to green. And you recall that there was a piece of plastic on the front end of that race car, perhaps causing some overheating problems. There it is on the right side of the grill. It's been taken off, however. Dick, have you got it?
Well, here's the piece of plastic that was on the front of Rusty Wallace's car. He's got some other problems, too. He had problems with his shoe, wound up having to take it off. He got it back on again in the last pit stop, and they also have been having troubles matching the tires. They said last time it was too loose because the left rear just didn't grow, and they say they hope they got it right this time.
All right, and we will watch Rusty Wallace as he sets the pace for the restart here. Now, that's Rick Wilson in number 4 to the inside. He's a lap car. So is Morgan Shepherd back there in car number 75. The cars that are on the lead lap are to the high side of the racetrack. And here is the green once again on lap number 233. We're back to racing in the Heinz Southern 500.
Those fellows have had trouble going in turn 1 by themselves. I don't know how they're going to do it to a breath.
Well, Rick Wilson was down on the inside. He was a lap down, at least 1 lap down, and now he's getting back in the lead lap.
So Rick Wilson will now be the 10th car in the lead lap as Rusty Wallace in car number 27 now is the leader. Driver we would like to update you on. Again, Darrell Waltrip has fallen well off the pace, as many laps down. And another guy we'd like to update you on is the one who had the chance at the Unocal Challenge money of $144,000. He's out of the race. Here's Jerry Punch.
And then let's get to the pit stop, Bob, for an overheating problem, and then brought the car back to the garage area, and we came back here to see how they were doing, and he was changing the street clothes. Alan, looks like your day's over with. What happened?
Well, you know, the engine didn't really overheat. A fitting broke off the front of the cylinder head and all the coolant came out. You know, it really wasn't the fault of the engine. Certainly wasn't the fault of the Xerox antifreeze. A fitting broke off the front of the engine. Very freak thing. I've never seen it happen before.
You had a fitting break. In fact, you were looking at the fitting when we walked up here a minute ago. We might want to show the people that these things do break occasionally, and the coolant leaked out, and that was your day was over with. So the Unocal money will go on to Richmond next week, and you'll get a shot up there.
We'll just come back next week and do our best. You know, the Xerox Ford Thunderbird was running pretty well today. Car was just a little bit loose, but we were on the lead lap, and we had plenty of time to adjust, and it's just unfortunate that happened.
Tough break for Alan Kulwicki.
Alan Kulwicki and others will be eligible for $152,000 in Unocal Challenge money next week at Richmond. We've got a freight train, almost like a Talladega freight train, forming here. That's Gant leading this group of cars, with Jeff Bodine being challenged by Bill Elliott to the inside. Dale Earnhardt is also in the thick of things, as is Ken Schrader, Bill Parsons, Michael Waltrip, and Mark Martin.
Elliott position there as they try to jockey around on the racetrack.
Elliott holding his car to the inside. Doesn't appear to be working very well, though. He's lost a couple of spots and now will allow Ken Schrader to pass by, and he'll go to the high side of the racetrack.
Bill Elliott, the caution flag, when he made his pit stop a moment ago, they sprayed some water on it like they were trying to cool it off. And the engine on Bill Elliott's Coors Motorcraft Ford runs like it's running a little bit hot right now, like he don't have all the power there that he's accustomed to having.
And Dale Earnhardt's car sliding high near the outside wall in turn number 2 as he battles alongside Jeff Bodine.
And boy, he just moves right on out in front of him. Here's Schrader now coming up on Jeff Bodine. Bodine driving the yellow and white number 5. Bill Elliott right behind Ken Schrader, who's in the red car. So good battles going on here for Jeff Bodine, running in the 3rd position. Well, he was until Dale Earnhardt went by there a moment ago. Now Earnhardt is 3rd, Jeff Bodine is 4th, and Ken Schrader in 5th place. Bill Elliott running in 6th place. And here's Harry Gant. Dale Earnhardt coming up on him. Gant is running 2nd, but Rusty Wallace has pulled out to a good lead over Harry Gant. So Gant's car does not seem to be as quick now as it was earlier. Now, whether that getting into the wall hurt him some or not, Earnhardt, after a couple of unscheduled pit stops, or at least one unscheduled pit stop under green flag conditions, has gotten himself back in the thick of this battle, trying to take over the second position. Then he's just looking for a place to go on the racetrack to get around Harry Gant.
He really is. I think that Harry probably has hurt that car by bouncing off the wall down. The toe end might be just a little bit off. And you know, when everything has to be as precise as it does, a little bit, an eighth of an inch, a 16th of an inch can make a great deal of difference.
Well, Dale Earnhardt has taken over the second position in the Goodwrench Chevrolet, and there are the second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth place cars all running very, very close together. And Jerry Punch, what's going on with Bill Elliott?
Well, gentlemen, you commented about the fact that they were spraying some water on the Bill Elliott car during the pit stop. Let's talk to Dan Elliott. Dan, you were spraying water on the car in the pit stop. Do you have an overheating problem?
No, we don't have a problem, but we were afraid as close as the temperatures were running to hot that we would have if we didn't keep it cool on the pit stop. He's not experienced any problem on the track yet, but temperatures are real close.
Well, that's a consensus among the Elliott family. I spoke with Dan here as well as Ernie, and they talked to Bill in the car. The temperature looks pretty good.
Well, he certainly has driven a smart race, and he has won 2 Southern 500s here, and he did it by running fast and driving very smart.
As a matter of fact, that red and white number 9 won the $1 million in 1985 when he had the opportunity. He stepped up to the line and got the one. Ooh, and Dale Jarrett got the wall down in turn 1. Just as we watched Bill Elliott, I wanted to let you know, Ned, your boy touched the wall down in turn 1.
I watched him a few laps ago, and he was getting very high in that turn, and evidently it caught up with him as it has with a few others here today. As we watch Bill Elliott now just running along there behind Ken Schrader. Ken Schrader in the red car in front of Bill Elliott running in 5th place. So Elliott running 6th. And now we see Ricky Rudd here in car number 26, who is running in the 8th position. Mark Martin in car number 6 is currently running in 7th position. So good battles there. Ricky Rudd had gotten a lap down early and fought his way back into the lead lap. So this last caution flag has helped him. And as you pointed out earlier, Benny, he has had one of the fastest cars on the racetrack today. So don't count that young fella out.
He sure isn't. There, the 30 car that Michael Walter, Darrell's little brother, and the black and white 55, that's Phil Parsons, my younger brother. And behind them, the red car, number 57, Hut Strickland, running one of the Rookie of the Year contenders this year.
And we go inside Hut's car now. Of course, this car is sponsored by the same company who's sponsoring this race. And he's hanging right in there in that number 57 car.
He has some sheet metal damage on the outside of that car too, so he's had a little encounter with the wall. He's currently 4 laps down, but he has been running good here, but he has made a couple of unscheduled pit stops as a result of getting into the wall back a little earlier.
We're looking out the rear of his car, looking back at Phil Parsons coming off turn 2, going down the back straightaway. Back off in for turn 3, on the brakes, back on the throttle as they come off between 3 and 4.
Phil, by the way, is 2 laps down, running in about 15th position. Michael Waltrip leads this group of cars down. That's Strickland right behind, and then Phil Parsons. The 33 car of Harry Gant is still in 3rd position, and he's right behind Rick Wilson as we're riding with Harry.
Now on the restart, Rick Wilson had jumped out in front of Rusty Wallace and had gotten back in the lead lap, but since then Wallace has passed Wilson and has gone on away, so Rick Wilson is now running 1 lap down.
Harry Gant looking to the inside of Rick Wilson going into turn 1. Can't make the move. Let's go to Dr. Jerry Punch on pit road.
Well, gentlemen, you commented that Harry Gant is not running nearly as well now as he was maybe 30 or 40 laps ago. Let's eavesdrop a little bit with crew chief Andy Petrie and find out what the problem is. Andy, is the problem in the front end of the car? Do you have a possible problem with toe out?
Well, Harry's eased into that wall down there in 1 and 2, I think it is, a couple times, and it's knocked the front end out just a little bit. The car's not handling quite as good as it was. It hadn't been handling for about 30 laps now, but we had a big enough lead a while ago. It didn't really show. We still had this caution, and the other cars have caught up. We thought we'd try it this one time without adjusting the toe out, but we made an election to change the toe out on the next caution.
They're a little bit concerned here in the Skull pits as they want to get Harry's front end adjusted so he can go up there and run with Earnhardt and the fellow they're all chasing, Rusty Wallace.
Well, Harry certainly has had his ups and downs here this afternoon, and he right now is chasing Rusty Wallace, who is leading the Heinz Southern 500. And with the report on Rusty Wallace, here's Dick Bergman.
Well, Bob Jenkins, you're not going to believe this, but he's picked up another piece of plastic in the grill of that automobile. But this time he's got the right side more occluded than before. There's less air going into the radiator than before. And last time he picked up 30 degrees, so they're worried down here.
That's unbelievable. This car is like a magnet to that plastic. For the second time this afternoon, there is a piece of plastic, and is pretty obvious there on the right side of the grill. Now we see Ricky Rudd in the 26 car trying to take over the 7th position away from Mark Martin in car number 6. Rudd is really moving well in that Quaker State Buick.
Both those cars, both Mark Martin in the blue number 6 and Ricky Rudd at times today have been awfully quick. Rudd drifts high now underneath Mark Martin. What a beautiful move that Rudd made coming off the second corner. He's alongside Mark Martin, has position on him. Going in turn 3, he has the spot.
Now, Kenny Bernstein, of course, is the owner of this number 26 car, and Kenny himself is in action this weekend at the U.S. Nationals in Indianapolis, Indiana. He was also involved in the Big Bud Shootout, which is going on, and part of Race Day America today. He was defeated, however, in an earlier round. So Rusty Wallace is the leader of the Heinz Southern 500 here at Darlington. We'll be back after this. NASCAR racing today from the Heinz Southern 500 in Darlington, South Carolina. And you saw a new look, Darlington, as they have removed the roof from the main grandstand here on the straightaway. And you also saw the leader come down the straightaway. Now he's already into turn number 3. That is Rusty Wallace, who is leading this race with 255 laps to go. Now, for those of you just joining us, Darrell Waltrip will not win $1 million this afternoon. The car has had several problems. Darrell has been into the fence and bent the car, and they've spent several laps on pit road. In fact, he is 7 laps down. So there will be no $1 million awarded in Winston Cup competition this year. So there is Rusty Wallace, who is the leader, and our Napa race summary shows that Wallace has led 61 of the 250 laps at an average speed of 134.821 miles an hour. We've had 10 leaders, 20 lead changes, 3 caution periods, a total of 15 laps. And at the moment, 9 cars are on the lead lap with Rusty Wallace. Those who have led include Alan Kulwicki, the pole sitter. He's out of the race. Wallace, Marcus, Earnhardt, Harry Gant. Also leading have been Neil Bonnet, Ken Schrader, Darrell Waltrip, and Sterling Marlin. Those that have dropped out include James Hilton, Greg Sachs, Jimmy Spencer, J.D. McMuffy, and Richard Petty. Also Mike Potter, Terry Labonte, Alan Kulwicki, Larry Pearson, and Joe Rutten. We have had no serious crashes in this race whatsoever, but 3 caution periods for minor spins.
And Dale Earnhardt now beginning to close down a little bit on Rusty Wallace. Rusty enjoyed about a 4-second lead not too long ago, but now Dale Earnhardt has cut that lead to about 1 9/10 seconds, so he's gaining a little bit on it.
There we see Bill Elliott, Ricky Rudd in the green 26. That's 6th spot. Bill Elliott, the red number 9, 7th, and Mark Martin in the blue number 6 is running 8th. And look to me like Mark Martin might be gaining on Bill Elliott.
There's also a considerable amount of paint missing from the left side of the number 9 car driven by Elliott, as a lot of cars are showing battle scars.
That was Ricky Rudd's rubber that you saw, because when he passed Bill Elliott just a couple of laps ago, they kind of rubbed together down in turn 1.
The leader is Rusty Wallace. Dale Earnhardt is running in 2nd position, and there is the interval between the 2.
Yeah, you can see him come into the picture there very quickly. He's cutting it down. He's very definitely gaining on Rusty Wallace at the moment. As they come across the start-finish line, we'll put our trusty stopwatch on him. There goes Rusty Wallace, and here's Dale Earnhardt, and it is 1 8/10 seconds. So he's picked up about 1/10 of a second according to our stopwatch here in the last couple of laps.
Rusty Wallace has not won at Darlington, and the last win for a Pontiac here at this racetrack was in 1963 when Joe Weatherly won the Rebel 300. Dodge, Plymouth, Mercury, and Matador have all won here at this racetrack since Pontiac has.
Well, we'll check the interval once again as Rusty Wallace comes around off of turn 4 and see how he stacks up with Dale Earnhardt. There's Earnhardt coming into the picture. One car in between them. Start the clock, and there's Earnhardt. 1.5 seconds, so he's cut it down even a little more, so he is definitely gaining. Talking about winners here at Darlington, Darrell Derringer won the 1966 Southern 500. Want to say hello to Darrell. He's in the hospital in Charlotte, North Carolina. Very, very ill. And Darrell, our prayers and best wishes are with you and a former car owner who had a winner here at Darlington. Hoss Ellington is also in the hospital in Wilmington, North Carolina. And Hoss, our very best to you and wish to see you out at the races here before too long. Let's
check the interval once again. I think it's going to be even closer than 1.5 seconds than it was last time. Oh, it's 1.2 seconds. So indeed, Dale Earnhardt is closing in on Rusty Wallace, the leader of the Heinz Southern 500.
And look how high Earnhardt is running in that turn once again. You know, he scraped the wall down there a little bit earlier, but that didn't deter him from driving up there again.
Well, Race Day America here on ESPN. We checked in now with Mid-Ohio. We have checked in with the Big Bud Shootout at Indianapolis Raceway Park. We'll have the IndyCar race for you at 5 o'clock Eastern Time. But now, let us go to another venue on Race Day America. That would be San Antonio, Texas, where Ken Squire is standing by with reports on the GTO competition in San Antonio.
We're in the 7th lap of a 1-hour GTU championship race in beautiful San Antonio, Texas. Temperature about 100, and the competition is just as hot. As you see here, Wally Dallenbach in the blue and white stroke car. Number 9 is leading the number 4. What's German, Hans Stuck riding second, and Millen out of New Zealand in the new Nissan car maintains third. Pete Halsmer, the pole sitter, has fallen to 4th. In the GTU class, Leitzinger continues to be out in front over Lance Stewart. Here you see the number 75 car. That's Millen. Wound his way through the field on this 1.67 10-mile course to be a presence. He's already taken 1 victory this season, and it looks like he could be a formidable challenger to take it all as we work lap number 8 now, watching Dallenbach, who has squirted through the field and gone into first place. We'll keep you updated on any late-breaking developments here at San Antonio, Texas. Now, once again, back to Darlington.
All right, thank you, Ken Squire. Well, one of the support races to that event, the International Sedan Series, and there are the results. Scott Hare, the winner, at an average speed of 59.160 miles an hour. Parker Johnstone second, Doug Peterson third, Dave Jolly fourth, and Pepe Pombo finished fifth in that IMSA International Sedan Series race at San Antonio, Texas. And Ken Squire will have that complete race for you at 1 o'clock tomorrow. We're back at Darlington, South Carolina, and the Heinz Southern 500 with the skies once again very black overhead. The top 10 at the moment with 265 laps completed. Rusty Wallace, Dale Earnhardt, Harry Gant, Jeff Bodine, and Ken Schrader. And running 6 through 10, Ricky Rudd, Bill Elliott, Mark Martin, Bobby Hillen, and 1 lap down in 10th is 75 Morgan Shepherd.
And look, Dale Earnhardt has caught Rusty Wallace, and this is for the lead. Earnhardt has fought his way back and forth to the front. He and Rusty Wallace have battled quite a bit here this afternoon. They got separated for a long time as a result of unscheduled pit stops, but now they're back together.
I believe that Dale is going to make a run at him. He moves to the high side of the racetrack, and let's see if he can mount a challenge here to Rusty Wallace. They'll come down the backstretch, and Earnhardt will use that outside line. He pulls alongside of Rusty Wallace. As they head to 3, it's Dale Earnhardt grabbing the lead from Rusty.
Yeah, Dale Earnhardt gave him the running room that he needed and just moved to the inside and let him go.
Let's go to Dick Berggren, who's with Jimmy Makar on the Rusty Wallace team.
Well, Jimmy, you guys just got eaten up. What happened?
Well, we made a little adjustment that time on the car to tighten it up. We did complain a little bit about it being loose earlier on. We didn't know if it was tires or chassis, so we tightened it up a little bit. It helped the car for about 20 or 25 laps, and then it started getting a little loose again. So we're in a position now where we need to make another little adjustment, or depending on how the caution flags fall, we may want to leave it like that for 20 laps, because for 20 laps it was really fast.
Car 5 and 26 battling on the track as these guys worry about the 27 Wallace.
And that is for 5th position as Jeff Bodine tries to hold off the challenge of Ricky Rudd in the Quaker State Buick number 26. The Levi Garrett Chevrolet of Jeff Bodine holding down 5th, but boy, has he got a challenge on his hands.
And you have 4 cars running together. Harry Gant leading that pack, running in 3rd. Ken Schrader is 4th. Jeff Bodine goes a little high. Here comes Ricky Rudd trying to make a move down on the inside. Can he do it? Not quite.
Ricky Rudd able to drive that car up high and just turn in the middle of 1 and 2 and come to the bottom of the racetrack. I've not been able to see many cars do that today. Rudd's car extremely fast. He had an unscheduled pit stop earlier and got a lap down, and he just fought his way back. That's one reason that we haven't talked very much about Ricky Rudd today.
You can see this is his 13th Southern 500 and his best finish in 8th. Ricky Rudd doing better than that today and trying to take over the 5th position from Jeff Bodine, but he is unable to do so. Let's see if he makes a move into turn number 3. Nope.
Jeff Bodine running a good line around this racetrack too, but you can see that Rudd picks up as he heads off of the turns, but he can't build quite enough momentum to move around. And Ken Frater keeping close tabs on Harry Gant right in front of them. Racetrack's getting a little slick, fellas.
And this is the bumper cam on Harry Gant's car as we watch Ken Schrader's number 25 and Jeff Bodine back there with the yellow 15. Yellow number 5, I should say.
Schrader looked to the inside of Harry Gant that time, like he wanted to make a pass, not able to make it. Let's see, he might be measuring up to go down the front straightaway. He's not able to pull up on the, but meanwhile, back behind him, Ricky Rudd is alongside Jeff Bodine. Going in turn 1, they are side by side.
Oh, it's tight, they touch, and Rudd gets the position from Jeff.
Here's Jeff trying to come back.
This is for 5th position once again. Rudd has passed Jeff Bodine.
So we're watching those 3 cars we see there now are there's 4 of them, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th place. The front 2 cars, Dale Earnhardt and Rusty Wallace, of course, a little ways out in front of them, about perhaps 3 seconds.
Well, we hope you're enjoying Race Day America here on ESPN. Anchor coverage from Darlington, South Carolina, and the Heinz Southern 500 being led at the moment by Dale Earnhardt. We'll be right back. Bob Jenkins, Benny Parsons, Ned Jarrett, Dick Berggren, and Jerry Punch back at the Heinz Southern 500 in Darlington, South Carolina. Race Day America here on ESPN, and you're watching the first 2 positions. Dale Earnhardt in car number 3, leading Rusty Wallace in number 27 with 278 laps completed.
And those cars awfully evenly matched all day long. It's just been Wallace would lead for a while, Earnhardt would lead for a while.
In case you are just joining us, Darrell Waltrip will not win the $1 million this afternoon. He's had problems with the car, and he's down about 7 laps to the field.
3rd place, Harry Gant is running about 4.5 seconds behind these 2 drivers. After Dale Earnhardt made the pass on Rusty Wallace not long ago, he hasn't been able to pull away. We've seen that happen a couple of times here this afternoon, that someone come up and pass another driver but just wasn't able to pull away.
A reminder, at 5 o'clock Eastern time in 1 hour, we will have, at the conclusion of this race, the IndyCar race from Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course that we've had reports on throughout the day. Now we watch Rusty Wallace trying to take the lead away from Dale Earnhardt. They almost touch coming out of 2. They go into turn number 3, and Earnhardt holds him off.
Oh, my goodness, Dale. What a chance that he took driving in on the outside of Rusty Wallace, because you just can't do that. But they did it.
Well, Wallace backed off when they went into the turn. He saw Earnhardt wasn't going to, and he said that'd be foolish for me to go in there and wreck both of us.
Now Wallace will battle back once again. He's got the clear shot on the inside of the track. There you can see the average speed of the race. We are on record pace. We're at 136.2, and the race record is 130.0. And here is Ricky Rudd. And I'm telling you, this Quaker State Buick is on the move. He now takes 3rd.
Yes, he is on the move. He has fought his way up from about 8th or 9th position after this restart, and has just come right on up through the pack.
He has passed them all. They've not given him anything. Ricky Rudd running extremely well. The Quaker State Buick, Ryan McReynolds, those guys doing their job. Look, Rusty Wallace once again on the inside of Earnhardt. Now this is what Rudd needs. These guys to run side by side like they're doing, because they can't run at fast speed.
Let's see if Rusty can get the lead going into the 3rd turn. Yep, I believe he's going to do it. Rusty Wallace goes to the lead. Now we'll see if Dale can retake it.
Watch him come back.
Wallace's car washes out a little bit and goes high, but nope, Rusty Wallace is going to lead this lap. Now Rusty has finished 2nd in the past 2 Southern 500s. Would like very much to pull off the win here this afternoon. Race Day America here on ESPN. We have shown you highlights of the first 2 rounds of the Big Bud Shootout in Indianapolis, part of the NHRA U.S. Nationals. And now we are ready for the finals of the Big Bud Shootout. So let's go to Dave McClellan, who's on hand in Claremont, Indianapolis Raceway Park. Dave?
Hello again, everybody. I'm Dave McClellan. Welcome back to a windblown Indianapolis Raceway Park. It is a great day and a great race. $50,000 riding on one single run down a racetrack. The 2 finalists in the Big Bud Shootout, Don Prudhomme in the near lane. Now the quickest funny car in the world. He set that in the first round when he ran a 5:17 to beat Mike Dunn and said this is his last season in funny cars. His competition in the far lane, John Force, the man that won this event back in 1986. For Prudhomme, it has been an incredible day. His 5:17 backed up with a 5:28 in the second round. John Force has won his first 2 races today, primarily by his driving skills. For Force, this is the first time he has ever met his idol, Don Prudhomme, in the final round of any major event. And what better place to do it than here at Indianapolis Raceway Park and the Big Bud Shootout. Earlier, Steve Evans visited both pit areas, Don Prudhomme and John Force.
Don Prudhomme was on fire in the semifinal round, and here's the evidence. We couldn't see it because all that fire was inside the car when the exhaust headers came out, and all the fire was in the body instead of going out the pipes. Don, an awful lot of components have to be replaced on this car. Does it set you back in the battle against John Force?
Well, I don't think so. What really happened is the bolts that were holding the headers on, that all gave up, and the header fell down, and the fire came out and started burning the body, and you know, just tore a lot of parts up. But we can get her fixed.
Only an experienced driver could get that car stopped, as Don Prudhomme did. It could have been a lot worse.
Prudhomme obviously has it fixed. We are riding in the car of John Force for the first time. 2 onboard cameras. They're both approaching the staging lights. They're set. Prudhomme and John Force are off the mark. And it is Prudhomme, the champion, the Big Bud Shootout winner of 5-second elapsed time. 5:19 at 271 miles an hour. Don Prudhomme drove his Pontiac to victory in a dominance of an event that we have never seen before. Let's watch again. You see the car of Prudhomme in the near lane, Force in the far lane. From the starting line all the way to the finish line, Prudhomme had this race won. By the time they got to the finish line, Prudhomme had covered 1,320 feet in 5.19 seconds. An incredible day for Prudhomme. A 5:17 in the first round, a 5:19 in the final round, with a 5:28 sandwiched in between. We'll be back here to Indianapolis Raceway Park a little bit later to talk with the winner, Don Prudhomme. Right now, there's much more on Race Day America.
Thank you very much, Dave. We are back at Darlington, South Carolina in the Heinz Southern 500, and Dale Earnhardt is in the pits. Jerry Punch reports.
Right side tires already on the Goodwrench Chevrolet. Earnhardt now getting left side tires. Right front corner of the car smoking a little bit. Someone beat off the brakes. Earnhardt now down and away. Great pit stop for the Goodwrench Chevrolet. He moves down. Ricky Rudd still in the pits. Ricky Rudd's pit stop now. Left side tires going on that car. And the Quaker St. Buick will move away. Ricky Rudd running in the top 5. Actually running third at that pit stop.
Rudd moving back out onto the racetrack.
And Bob, before he made this pit stop, he had moved up to 3rd place and was cutting about 0.2 of a second a lap off of the lead that Rusty Wallace had. He was gaining on the front 2. Of course, Rusty Wallace, I assume, will be coming in before too long, as Bobby Hillen, who's had a great run here today, is in the pits right now. Here's Rusty Wallace. He's currently the leader of this Heinz Southern 500. But how long will he be before he'll come in? Now, the Harry Gantz crew is standing by waiting for him to come in, and right now he is coming into the pits. Nick Berggren is standing by ready for this pit stop.
Nick Karen, when this pit stop happens, they're going to look at the right rear corner of the car. They've got sheet metal into the tires, apparently, and they're ready to do some body work on this car if necessary. The car owner, Leo Jackson, has come over there, and as soon as they get that tire off, he's right in there with the tools to try to do a little bit of body work and get that sheet metal away from it. They've got the right side tires changed now, getting ready to do the left one. Rusty, meanwhile, is on his way down pit road. As Jackson used a little bit of work on the right front sheet metal.
Rusty still coming down pit road. Gans is not ready to go away. And Gans and Rusty right side at this point. Now Wallace, he's doing his pit stop. Rusty Wallace going to get right side tires. Bodine is going to be pitting right behind him. Remember, Rusty wants to change the handling of this car, and it got a little bit loose. So here's their opportunity to try to tighten it up. Right side tires done on Rusty Wallace's car. Working on the left side tires right now. Right behind him, Bodine's crew just beginning to address the left side tires. Fuel going into Rusty Wallace's car. One can in, two cans in. Rusty is gone.
Some great shots from the crew can, guys. Absolutely. Really good shots. There's Jeff Bodine, who has completed work on the Levi Garrett Chevrolet. He goes back in competition. Ken Schrader comes in. Jerry.
Folger Chevrolet will get service here in the pits. The crew now working on the right side. David Oliver cleaning the grill, all the dirt and debris from the grill. Right side tires going on the car. The jack is down on the right side. He will scamper around and make it a 4-tire change for Ken Schrader, trying to win his first Southern 500. Mark Martin also in, as is Bill Elliott. Elliott getting a 4-tire change. Work now being completed on the Folger Chevrolet and Schrader. He is out of the way. Let's go down to Dick Berggren. Dick.
Jerry, Mark Martin has just finished his pit stop. What a good stop it was. They almost took Steve Meal with him. Mark Martin is the one that's furthest down on pit road. He is running the top 5 much of the afternoon, and they want this win badly today. They've yet to win a Winston Cup race.
All of this, of course, coming under green flag conditions. And now we watch Dale Earnhardt in car number 3, who is the leader of the race. He's got Sterling Marlin right there with him, but Marlin is not on the lead lap. Earnhardt picks up the lead once again in the Southern 500.
That just goes to show how much importance there is in 4 fresh tires. Marlin out there with old tires, and Dale Earnhardt just blew by him.
So Earnhardt is looking very strong, but so are Rusty Wallace and Ricky Rudd and many, many others. This race certainly not over yet. Rejoin us in just a moment. NASCAR racing today at the Southern 500 in Darlington, South Carolina. One of the first traditional races for NASCAR on Labor Day weekend. And now, here are the top 5 with just about 70 more laps to go. It's Earnhardt leading with Rusty Wallace second. Ricky Rudd is running third. Jeff Bodine is fourth. And Harry Gant running in 5th position. And there is the leader, Dale Earnhardt, as he is on his way to a victory here at Darlington this afternoon. Now, Darrell Waltrip, who came into this race with a chance of winning $1 million, will not win that this afternoon, as he is about 7 laps down to the field.
Earnhardt with new tires running very nicely out there.
Let's take a look at a pit stop summary and how everybody did during this most recent set of pit stops, as we have a caution flag on the speedway. Wallace came in first, out second. Earnhardt second to first. Rudd stayed the same. Gant lost a position, and Schrader lost 2 positions. The caution is coming out. It's not because of an accident, at least that we can see, perhaps just some debris on the racetrack, but nevertheless our 4th caution period of the afternoon as Harold Kinder displays it. And will we see some more pit stops? Now, they just completed some pit stops, but they have to have one more, do they not, before the end of this race?
Yes, they'll have to have one more for gas at least, and they might be able to go from here on, though. But when they made their pit stops a little while ago, they would not have been able to go the rest of the way. So now they'll probably come in and will be able to go the rest of the way. How about it, Jerry Punch?
Well, you know, Ned, you're exactly right. They probably have gone no more than around 60 or 62 laps on tires all day long. They would have to go 60, 67 laps to completion of the race. They can make it about 60 on tires, but they could go actually 70 laps on gas. Here's Rusty Wallace and Earnhardt down pit road. Earnhardt skids to a stop, and it will be a tire change. They cannot get the air hose over to the right side of the car. He slid almost out of his pit lane, and he is here now getting right side tires. It will be 4 tire change for the Earnhardt car. Let's go down to Dick Berggren.
They're doing the same thing here with Rusty Wallace's car. They're also going to change 4 tires. You can see it on the crew cam. The crew cam is doing the left rear tire right now. Boom, on it goes. The big game here is who's the first one to go off pit road. So far, it looks like it's going to be Rusty Wallace, and it is. Earnhardt's away, but it's no good. Rusty's beating him down pit road.
Trying to gain momentum coming out of the pits, but is going to have to fall in behind Rusty Wallace as Rusty wins the battle out of the pit area. By the way, the reason for the caution, number 71, Dave Marcus, had some contact with the wall in the backstretch. Nothing serious, but it was enough to cause another caution period. So the field is going to reline behind the pace car, and we'll be back with hopefully a restart of this Heinz Southern 500. We hope you're enjoying Race Day America here on ESPN. Indy cars, the GTO cars, GTP cars. We've had drag racing from Indianapolis, the Indy cars at Mid-Ohio that will be coming up at 5 o'clock. Yesterday at Mid-Ohio, the Trans Am's run. Paul Page reports.
Well, Bob, the Trans Am Series was at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course for the 10th race of their season. It was a wild day, as Les Lindley found out with this ride. Early on, series point leader Dorsey Schrader passed the pole sitter Irv Hare to take the lead. Schrader was in search of his third straight win. The tough road course took its toll on the Trans Ams. Bob Sobey lost his front end in an early tangle. Up front, Hare and Schrader continued their battle, with Hare retaking the lead on lap 20. Back in the pack, number 9, Dick Danielson, took a dangerous foray off the course and somehow avoided big trouble. But Schrader, a lot for Rookie of the Year honors, was in no danger as he moved back in front of Irv Hare. A little farther back, Tommy Kendall in his 01 Chevy Beretta blew past Paul Gentilozzi for third place. Things got bad quickly for Kendall, though, as he blew an engine almost immediately, ending his day. Irv Hare's day also ended early as he blew an engine while running in second place. Number 33, Scott Sharp, running well, had taken over second after Hare's problems. But Lady Luck caught him too. He got off the track with just one lap to go. Max Jones slid past him and finished second. That put Schrader and his Mustang alone at the front. He took the checkered flag and won his third straight race, moving him 44 points ahead in his quest for the Trans Am Championship, and putting Ford 6 points up in their run for the Manufacturers Championship. Now let's go back to Bob Jenkins.
Thank you, Paul. And the results of that Trans Am race yesterday shows that Max Jones finished second to Dorsey Schrader. Scott Sharp was third, Robert Lapalane in fourth, and Dick Danielson was fifth. His average speed 91.994 miles an hour. Now we go back to the Southern 500 in Darlington, South Carolina. Ned?
And Harry Gant has made several pit stops here during this caution period. We are still under caution here as a result of the situation with Dave Marcus on the backstretch. Let's go to the pits, and what is going on with Harry Gant's car, Dick Berger?
Well, they've been working on the adjustment of the front end, trying to get the thing towed in, towed out correctly. Now, ordinarily, a 16th of an inch is an awful lot. Rusty is also coming in. A 16th of an inch is an awful lot, but they just changed it a half inch. And the reason that Rusty just came in was earlier their crew told me they could not go 67 laps. That was on lap 300 when they fueled up last time. Now it's 304. Now he can. That's all they did was top off the fuel, so Rusty should be able to go the distance now.
And you can see that Bill Elliott also made a pit stop, and so did Ricky Rudd. So most of the top cars have come in to top off the fuel tank. They'll gamble, I guess, Benny, as far as the tires are concerned. Jerry Punch has said about 60 laps is all they can go on a set of tires.
Yep, they're going to gamble. Here's Darrell Waltrip in the pits one more time, and his shot for $1 million gone away. Poor Darrell Waltrip.
Still working
you
on
got
that
to feel for the guy. He had a shot one race, $1 million if he could just won, but they're still under the car trying to adjust the front end. Okay, folks, lay down those remote controls. We're going to have some commercials. We may have a test.
One lap has been completed under green, and Dale Earnhardt leads the Heinz Southern 500. Rusty Wallace is in second position, and then comes Mark Martin.
Jeff Bodine.
I'm sorry. And we're in the Heinz car of Hut Strickland out the back class. Rusty Wallace is right behind him. Now Jeff Bodine is in second.
9 cars still in the lead lap.
Mark Martin is third, then Ken Schrader, and then Rusty Wallace.
Ooh, look at Rusty come up on Hut Strickland down in turn 1. Looks inside. No, he decides not to go inside. They're both accelerating. And Hut Strickland moves over and let Rusty Wallace, the faster car, go by on the outside as he should.
The 9 cars that are in the lead lap, Dale Earnhardt leading, Jeff Bodine second, Mark Martin third, Ken Schrader fourth, Rusty Wallace fifth, Bill Elliott sixth, Ricky Rudd seventh, Bobby Hillin eighth, and Harry Gant in ninth position.
We should give a call to the Jeff Bodine pit crew because he went in running about fifth and came out in second spot. So Waddell and those guys did a super job on that last pit stop by Jeff Bodine.
There's the interval between the leader, Dale Earnhardt, and second place, Jeff Bodine.
Now Mark Martin is very close on Jeff Bodine. Martin in the blue Rose Light Ford number 6. The yellow car of Jeff Bodine running in second place. Earnhardt pulls away a little bit from the second and third place car. Kenny Schrader, you can see him coming into the picture in the red car back there. He's running in fourth place.
I wonder where Mark Martin came from. Then I remembered that a bunch of cars made their pit stops and then came back in 3 laps later just to put that other gallon of fuel in there. Mark Martin and Jeff Bodine, 2 cars who did not come back in, so it might be close on gasoline for those 2 cars.
Mark Martin is starting his 4th Southern 500. His best finish is 17th in '83. Looking for his first Winston Cup win. He's recorded a couple of second-place finishes earlier this year. Right behind Mark Martin is Ken Schrader in car number 25, and he begins to close in now on Mark.
And he did come back in for just a little bit of fuel and also a chassis adjustment. Made a slight chassis adjustment on the Folger Chevrolet. Might be enough to get him to the front. We'll see.
It's interesting that two of the 3 Rick Henry cars are running in the top 5, except the one that Darrell Waltrip wanted to be running in the top 5.
Yeah, the man that had a shot at $1 million. And right now, Darrell Waltrip is running 7 laps down in 21st position.
No chance for the $1 million this year, and that means that still only 3 drivers have captured 3 of the 4 races in NASCAR's crown jewels. Leroy Yarborough, David Pearson, and Bill Elliott. We'll be back with more right after this. I'm Bob Jenkins, and welcome back to Race Day America here on ESPN. Stock car racing, IndyCar racing, drag racing, and IMSA racing from San Antonio, Texas. The GTO-GTU race is underway in San Antonio, but there has been a crash. For more details, let's go to Ken Squire.
We're live with you from San Antonio, Texas. We're under caution after a serious crash at turn number 10 of the 1.67-mile, 10-turn San Antonio Grand Prix course. The driver that is still trapped in his car is Jeff Elgany of New York, New York. He hit the barrier, driver door, flush against it about 10 minutes ago. They have the jaws of life out there, and they are trying to extricate him from this Ford automobile, which crashed while running 13th overall and 7th in the race in the GTO class. This car, as you see, is still there. Elgany still inside the machine at the present time. Meanwhile, in the event, car number 9 continues to lead here this afternoon with Wally Dallenbach in first place and Hans Stuck in second. We'll update you on this story as we continue on Race Day America. Now back to Bob Jenkins in Darlington.
Thank you, Ken, and we will continue to have reports from you throughout the afternoon. Right now, we'll give you a full field summary at the end of 315 laps here in the Heinz Southern 500 at Darlington Raceway in South Carolina. The leader of the event is Dale Earnhardt.
And he has a piece of paper on the front of his grill, as we saw earlier on Rusty Wallace's car. It doesn't look like that it would affect him that much, but certainly it will shut some air off of going into the radiator. You can see the balance of the cars. Those are the 9 cars in the lead lap. Sterling Marlin 1 lap down, so is Morgan Shepherd and Michael Waltrip.
And let's talk about Jeff Bodine. Dale Earnhardt is just going to pass by Jeff Bodine in just about a second or two. When we left you a little bit ago, Jeff Bodine was running second. He has evidently lost a cylinder or had some problem. He has slowed dramatically and now is a lap down in the Levi Garrett Chevrolet.
And he was running in second place when he slowed down, Benny. He just now went a lap down to Dale Earnhardt. And so his hopes have gone out the window, it looks like, as far as a victory here today.
And you're seeing a race recap and those that have dropped out of competition. And now we focus in on Dale Earnhardt leading the Heinz Southern 500. Dale looking for his third win of the 1989 Winston Cup season, and if he should win, he will add to his points lead in Winston Cup competition. He came in 53 ahead of Rusty Wallace. Darrell Waltrip, we remind you once again, is about 7 laps down because of many problems that he has had during this race and has no chance of winning the Winston Million. And likewise, pole sitter Alan Kulwicki dropped out of competition earlier, and so the Unocal money goes up to $7,600 more.
You're afraid to add those numbers in your head, right, Jenkins?
Not at this point in the afternoon, no.
But we can still see that piece of plastic on the front of Dale Earnhardt's car, but it hasn't slowed him down any.
It doesn't appear to be positioned over the radiator as much as Rusty's was.
No, and evidently not shutting off as much air, so he's still running very strong.
Mark Martin, the car, is running in second place. He is not able to gain on Dale Earnhardt. He's staying about the same. As a matter of fact, Earnhardt might have pulled away from Mark Martin just a little bit. Meanwhile, Rusty Wallace has moved up into third spot and Ken Schrader back into fourth.
Let's watch Earnhardt and see if he's going as high as he had. Well, he went into the turn. Here's Bill Elliott and Harry Gant battling for position. They're battling for the 6th and 7th position. Bill Elliott currently running in the 6th position. Harry Gant running in 7th position.
And Bobby Hillen is shown in 8th, and he is the last car on the lead lap. Elliott, number 9, and Gant at number 33.
If you've just joined our telecast, Harry Gant in the Skoal Bandit Detroit Gasket Oldsmobile. You're looking from inside his car now. Early on in the race was one of the most dominant cars here, but he had some contact down in the first turn wall 3 times today, and they made some repairs the last pit stop, adjusted the front end, so that's one reason he's back in 7th spot.
And we're now inside the number 57 car of Hut Strickland. The Heinz race cam. We're looking out the back glass of that car.
That's Dick Trickle, the Miller Lite Buick. Tries to make a move on Hut, can't make it.
Hut running about 18th place.
The race winding down here in Darlington, South Carolina. Can Dale Earnhardt hold on and win the Heinz Southern 500? Back at the Heinz Southern 500, part of Race Day America. Just 37 more laps to go in this one. Dale Earnhardt leads with Mark Martin 2nd, Rusty Wallace 3rd, Ken Schrader 4th, and Ricky Rudd running in 5th position. Now, there is the leader, Dale Earnhardt, but not all that far behind is the 2nd place machine driven by Mark Martin. And there you can see the interval. Martin appears to be closing in. Let's go to Dick Bergeron and the crew chief on this car.
Well, Steve, you've had 3 second-place finishes in 1989. I know you want to win badly, but can you win? How can you overhaul Earnhardt?
I don't know. The 3 car's awful stout right now. Rusty's coming pretty good behind us, and if you look close, Ricky Rudd is running awful fast. So what we're planning on is typically in this race, the 3 car has not got the fuel mileage that's going to get it to the end of the race. We think the 3 has to stop for gas. If so, maybe we'll win by default, but we sure enough give them away like that. We'd have to take it.
Are you sure you have enough gas to go all the way?
Oh, we're never sure, but we're going to take a heck of a shot at it. We're not going to stop for fuel until it runs out.
That's the story with the 2nd-place car. Jerry, what are the leaders going to do?
Well, let's check in with Richard Children. Richard, some of the cars chasing Dale Earnhardt think you may have to stop for gas again, and they're going to get a shot at winning it if you do. What do you think?
Well, we just have to see. Way we got it figured, it ought to go to the limit, and that's all.
How about the tires? How about the tires?
Well, the tires are going to be real close. A while ago, you know, we're burning the right rear up pretty bad.
A lot of concern here in the Goodrich pit. They may be able to make it on fuel. Remember, they did not come back in and top up their tanks, as did Schrader and Wallace and others. Earnhardt stayed out, so he will have to go at least 4 laps further than anyone else if they will make it the distance on fuel.
is the question at the moment. Will these leaders have to stop for fuel? You can only think about what happened at Daytona as far as the Mark Martin car is concerned, running out with about 5 laps to go. Meanwhile, we have a battle here between number 9 and 33. That's Bill Elliott and Harry Gant battling for 6th position, and we're watching that from out the back class of the Heinz car driven by Hut Strickland.
And Hut has been able to stay in front of those 2 cars for quite a while.
And here's the view that Harry Gant has, as Bill Elliott is ahead of him.
Bill Elliott sitting there between the 2 camera cars. Here's the Heinz car again as we look out the rear view of him into Bill Elliott. So Bill right in the middle of the picture.
Battle has settled down now. It doesn't appear as if Gant is in a position to mount a challenge to Elliott for the 6th position. Now Harry looks to the inside of Bill. As they come off the corner, Gant settles back behind Elliott.
Denny, we've been talking about them going into turn 1 down there and how high they're running going into that turn. Now, one thing that's happening now that we haven't seen all day long is that they're running into the sun going into that turn, and that makes it awfully tough.
I tell you, it makes it almost impossible going into turn 1, Ned. You just simply cannot see the outside retaining wall now, and we probably will see some more people run into it before the race is over. Harry Gant, he's certain Bill Elliott is going to try to go by Hut Strickland now. He makes it. Comes off turn 4 down the front straightaway. Harry Gant looks to the inside. I don't know if he'll be able to get by or not. Yes, Hut backs off and they go in side by side.
And from the bumper cam from Harry Gant's car, we're looking back on Strickland and Morgan Shepherd in 75.
See how close Hut runs to the wall going down the backstretch, then dips down to the inside, then drifts up again, close to the wall as he gets into the turn.
And the leader continues to be Dale Earnhardt. Widening out to show you the interval between 1st and 2nd, and there is Mark Martin back in the runner-up spot. And now Ricky Rudd is trying to take over 4th position from Ken Schrader. Schrader in 25 and Rudd in 26.
Well, now Ken says, hey, you know, I got the numerical order here. 25 comes before 26. You shouldn't be out in front of me, but Rudd don't think anything about that.
Now watch Ricky Rudd go in high on the racetrack and just turn under if he does it like he's been doing. Watch that. Oh my goodness, how fast he comes off that 2nd corner.
Now Rudd will pull alongside down the backstretch, and Rudd is going to take away the position from Ken Schrader, so Rudd moves to 4th.
It looks like that Ricky Rudd's car is about equal to all the rest of them up in 3 and 4, but down in 1 and 2, he just kills them. And Ned, watch him go in turn 1. I'm not sure if it's not his entry into the corner. See how much higher he goes in than everyone else? I'm not sure that he hasn't found him a groove up there that's better.
I think he has, and that allows him to cut left when he comes off of that turn. He goes in higher and lets him make the turn a little bit quicker than others. And it could be that at this point of the race, it certainly is working for him right now, because look how far away he is pulled from Kenny Schrader.
And there's Rusty Wallace, a 3rd place car directly in front of Ricky Rudd. So I would say that Ricky Rudd is going to catch him before long.
And let's watch him again as he goes into this turn. As you said, he goes in very high, even though he's going into the sun. But watch him cut left now, and he comes down to the inside of the racetrack coming off of there and picks up a lot of time.
But he is indeed catching Rusty Wallace for the 3rd position. It's Earnhardt leading, and Mark Martin running 2nd. Ricky Rudd closing in on Rusty Wallace for 3rd position. We'll be right back. The point leaders when we went into this event included Earnhardt, Wallace, Martin, Waltrip, and Allison. And here's how they are running in the race here this afternoon. Earnhardt is 1st, Wallace 3rd, Martin 2nd, Waltrip 21st, and Allison 20th. So you can see the first 3 positions aren't going to change very much if they finish in the order they're running right now. Now the top 5 with Just about 22 more laps to go. It's Earnhardt leading with Mark Martin second, Rusty Wallace third, followed by Ricky Rudd and Ken Schrader running fifth.
Darrell Waltrip could take a licking on $2 million today. Not only the Winston million, but also the $1 million you can win for the Winston Cup Point Championship, because he's taking some serious blows today back in wherever position he's running. It's way back, I know that.
About 21st.
Meanwhile, it is Ricky Rudd at number 27 who is still closing in on Rusty Wallace for the third position.
Yeah, when he passed the Ken Schrader car, he was pretty far behind Rusty Wallace, but he now has running down. Wallace running in the third position. Ricky Rudd trying to take it away. So Rudd definitely on the move.
If Ricky Rudd is going to win the race today, he'll have to get by Wallace in a rush. He can't afford to mess around with him too many laps, because, and you see the problem.
Wallace got loose.
He almost spun the car coming off the second corner. Rudd pulls up on the outside. Now let's see. Oh, how beautifully that worked for Ricky Rudd, able to drive by with no problem at all.
Yeah, Rusty was sideways there too.
He sure was. So it let Ricky pass him very with ease, and didn't, as Benny was about to say, he needed to get around him in a hurry. Well, he got around him in a hurry, thanks to Rusty's little sideways move there.
So now we have Rudd in third, Wallace in fourth. Second is Mark Martin, and the leader continues to be Dale Earnhardt. We will take a look once again at how Rudd took over third position from Wallace. Watch Wallace get almost completely sideways coming out of two.
And Rudd saw what was happening, took advantage of it, moved right up on the outside. But he had to have a lot of confidence that Rusty Wallace was not going to spin that car, because when he made that move to the outside, if Wallace does spin, he's going to back it into the wall and he'll catch Rudd. But Rudd had a lot of confidence in it.
You're right. There was going to be two cars in that wreck. There's Dale Earnhardt, our leader. The Goodrich Chevrolet continues to lead. Ricky Rudd may be the fastest car on the racetrack now, but I don't know that he's got enough time to catch. There's Mark Martin, the second place car. I don't know that he has time, that Ricky Rudd has time to catch Dale Earnhardt and Mark Martin.
Martin looking for, as we said, his first Winston Cup win. What do you think is the best strategy for winning a race here at Darlington?
You know, there's two ways to win these things. You can luck into them, or you can go out and drive to the front and drive away and win them. We hope to win either way. We work every week to try to make the Stroh's-Light Thunderbird strong enough that it can drive to the front and drive away. We hadn't accomplished that, but we've run good enough to win races on a lot of occasions, and so we look at it from both ways. You know, we hope to win the race. We hope to have a fast enough car to win the race, but lightning bolt speed doesn't win these races. You know, sometimes it does, but it doesn't always. So if we don't have the field by 0.2 of a second, we're not too shook up about it.
Well, not only is he going for his first win, but Mark Martin is also in the hunt for the Winston Cup Championship, third in points when we went into this Southern 500. Now, here's an interesting story. Michael Walton at number 30. The Country Time Lemonade Pontiac computer racing simulator was stolen from a hotel last Sunday. Now, it resembles this car that's on the racetrack. And many of you fans who have been at the racetrack and gone into this simulator know that it's a real experience. If you see the thing on the road or know of its whereabouts, you're asked to call the team owner, Chuck Ryder, at 704-377-6991. All cars will be kept confidential. They're looking for that Country Time simulator that was stolen last weekend.
What would you do with it if you had it?
I don't know. I guess you would play in it.
Yes.
Well, that's unfortunate, because it had become a fan favorite around the country as they took it to different parts of the country to be on show, so the fans would get an opportunity to get inside the experience of driving a race car.
And Michael Waltrip, by the way, is 2 laps down in 11th position. We're winding down the Southern 500 here at Darlington Raceway. We'll be back right after this. Back at the Heinz Southern 500, the Keystone race in ESPN's Race Day America on this Labor Day weekend, and you're watching Dale Earnhardt in the GM Goodwrench Chevrolet number 3 leading, and he'll have 10 more laps to go when he comes down this time. The question is, Does he have enough fuel to complete the distance?
Historically, this car gets less fuel mileage than any car on the circuit. I don't know. It's going to be a very, very close situation of whether Earnhardt can make it or not. Probably any car out there that is a contender now can make it. The only question mark is Earnhardt.
He has a 2 4/10 second lead over Mark Martin. Certainly that's not enough that he can come into the pits and go back out. But it's a fairly comfortable lead right now.
Second place belongs to Mark Martin, and there he is. You know how much racetrack there is between first and second.
And the interval stayed about the same that last time around 2 4/10 seconds. So they're maintaining about the same speed. Earnhardt still going up close to the wall when he goes into turn 1.
A great record for Dale Earnhardt here at Darlington. 3 of the last 7 races.
You know, his dad, Ralph Earnhardt, was inducted into the National Motorsports Press Association Hall of Fame at a banquet here in Florence, South Carolina, adjacent to Darlington, a city that's adjacent to Darlington, I should say. And that was a great night for Dale Earnhardt and his family. And Jerry Cook, of course, also was inducted into the Hall of Fame.
We saw 2.3 seconds separating first from second position. That's Davey Allison, by the way, right ahead of Mark Martin. His car is smoking just a little bit. We'll follow Earnhardt down the back straightaway and get another interval between the two and see how they compare.
This time by, there will be 7 laps to go for Earnhardt. Just about 10 miles if his car will just last. That's only about 2 gallons of fuel. Here comes Martin.
Shaved a couple of tenths off, but I'm not sure he can take the lead from Earnhardt unless Dale runs out of fuel.
Yeah, actually he lost just a little bit that time, but I think it was as a result of passing Davey Allison when he came off of turn 4. So we'll check him the next time around as Dale Earnhardt goes around Dale very hard as Pontiac.
The 9 and the 33 car are battling for position. That's for 6th, and it involves Bill Elliott and Harry Gant. Inside Harry Gant's car as he pulls to the inside of Bill Elliott on the front stretch.
Almost as if he waited until we got back there with the camera turned on and said, well, I believe I'll go ahead and make the pass now.
But watch Bill Elliott. He's coming back on the inside of Harry Gant. They're side by side off turn 4, and they touch.
Oh, boy, do they touch. Wow, boy, Elliott really got into the side of Gant.
Yeah, that could have taken both of them out there very easy, but being good professional race drivers, they were able to hang on to him. So Gant takes over the 6th position. Bill Elliott now 7th. Got a lot of cars running in the lead lap here, fellas, as fast as they've run, and as many green flag laps as we've run here today.
We're about to break a 16-year-old record in terms of speed. Cale Yarborough's 1973 race record here at the Southern 500 was 134.033. We're on record pace of 134.7. Here's the bump between Elliott and Gant.
But they're both out of control. Harry Gant was out of control up in the middle of the corner, and then Bill Elliott got out of control as they came off the corner.
This is Harry Gant's bumper cam as we look back at Bill Elliott. Again, Darrell Waltrip had a bad day here at the Southern 500 today, and will not go home with $1 million in his pocket. There are 4 laps to go in the Southern 500. Earnhardt is the leader. Earnhardt has already picked up 5 bonus points for leading the most laps, and if he can win this race, he will certainly put himself in a good position to win another Winston Cup.
He has been losing a few points here of late, Bob, but today it looks like he's going to gain some points. Mark Martin still about 2.5 seconds behind Dale Earnhardt, so it hasn't been much of a change since we clocked them 4 or 5 laps ago.
Dale Earnhardt's 1987 win here in the Southern 500 came when rain stopped it after 275 miles. But this time it appears as if it's going to go the distance, and Dale Earnhardt is going to chalk up win number 2 in this great, historic, and traditional race. Check the interval once again between the first and the second cars.
Well, it has closed down now, 1 4/10 seconds.
Well, it has, but we only have 2 more laps to go. They will get the white flag next time around, and Mark Martin may be on his way to finishing second for the 3rd time in 1989.
Well, he's had a great run here today, no doubt about it.
So have several drivers. Harry Gant has had a fine day. Ricky Rudd, Rusty Wallace, Elliott, Bobby Hillen has had a great run, but unfortunately Darrell Waltrip did not have a good day. The white flag comes out, and we are on the final lap of the 1989 version of the Heinz Southern 500. Dale Earnhardt from Kannapolis, North Carolina, now has just about 1/2 lap to go before he becomes a two-time winner of this great event. Earnhardt in the GM Goodwrench Chevrolet takes the car to the middle of the racetrack in turns number 3 and 4. He comes off of corner number 4 looking for the checkered flag. The fans are on their feet. He waves to them. The checkered flag is out, and Earnhardt wins the Southern 500. And the Richard Childress crew celebrates. There's Richard Childress on the left side of your screen. And it's a big step toward the Winston Cup.
It certainly is. The momentum means a great deal. Picked up some extra points on everybody behind him and led the most laps, so that gave him the 5 bonus points, plus winning the race. And he was in great shape.
Let's go down to Dick Berggren.
And I'm with Richard Childress. He owns the car that just won this race. Richard, how nervous were you about fuel at the end?
I was holding my breath. I didn't think we could make it. You know, we knew, Kurt told me it takes 21.3, and we'd been picking up 21.5, so we knew it was right on the money.
A lot of the teams at the other end were wondering if you were changing 2 tires on some of those pit stops. You were so fast. How much did this crew contribute to the win today?
Well, you know, Dale did a fantastic job. Anytime you run here and do like that and not get in trouble, you know, he done a great job. The crew did a great job all day. I'm proud of them all.
And they're going to head to victory lane right now, Bob Jenkins. This is a very happy bunch.
All right, thank you, Dick. Well, both Darrell Waltrip and Dale Earnhardt went into this race with 4 wins each at Darlington, and now Dale, with the win today, has the most. We'll be right back. The Heinz Southern 500 at Darlington Raceway has been won by Dale Earnhardt, Mark Martin 2nd, Ricky Rudd 3rd, Rusty Wallace 4th, and Ken Schrader finishes in 5th position. And our Speed World coverage of the Southern 500 being brought to you by Quaker State Motor Oil. The big Q stands for quality, always has, always will. By Anheuser-Busch, we brew our fine quality beers to be enjoyed responsibly. Remember, know when to say when. By Pronto, featuring quality auto parts at lower prices. And by Xerex, the antifreeze coolant for extreme conditions. Now we go down to victory lane in our winner's circle interview being brought to you by the Die Hard battery, now with more power when you need it most.
Dale Earnhardt climbs out in a victory celebration here at the Heinz Southern 500 and gets a big swig of Gatorade. Dale, partner, I know you're out of breath. Congratulations on an outstanding effort this afternoon.
Well, you know, thank the Lord for a good, safe race. This GM Goodwrench car ran good. Richard and the crew did a good job. Damn, I was praying there at the end.
A lot of concern over the tires, that possibly the tires wouldn't make it 67 laps.
I was more about the gas.
Truly fitting as he reaches up here and gets Taylor Nicole, his young daughter, and gives her a big hug here in victory lane. What a sweetheart. Dale, a family weekend here for you. Truly fitting that you would win here after your father, Ralph Earnhardt, was inducted into the Hall of Fame last night.
Well, we won this one for him. He was riding with us all the way. I think he brought us home with our gas.
Dale Earnhardt, the current Winston Cup point leader, will expand on that point lead today after winning the Heinz Southern 500. Now we'll get to the ground and get his breath. He is totally exhausted, and they will get some Gatorade in him, and he will get a little bit of air, but an outstanding effort. Let's go up to Dick Berggren.
And I'm with Darrell Waltrip, and he is absolutely surrounded with reporters. You can still manage to smile somehow. What got your problem started, Darrell?
Well, we wasn't running too good there to start with, and so we made a 4-tire change on the green and come back out, and we were right there with Harry and Dale. Dale had a problem. I was racing with Harry. I just felt that I had to make my move then. If I'm going to get back in the lead lap, if I'm going to have a chance at the million, I got to stay with Harry and try to get around him and get back in the lead lap. And lo and behold, he hit the wall in turn 2 and got his car all messed up. And I thought, gosh, this is going to work great. I'm going to be able to get around him. So I was trying too hard. I just was trying too hard, and I got the car up high down there in turn 3 and 4. And there's a bump down there, and it hit that bump and bounced itself into the wall. everything was okay. I didn't lose that much time, didn't tear up anything that badly. A little smoke, but no problem. But then I really was trying too hard for the condition the car was in. I should have backed off, bided my time, got it fixed, and went back at them at a later date, only one lap down. Come right through there, did the same thing again a few laps later, and it hurt it pretty badly that time. So, you know, turn 4 owes me $1 million, any way you look at it.
Well, he's got a later date coming. He's still got a chance at $1 million to be the Winston Cup champion. Darrell Waltrip here in the pits, waving bye-bye to everybody. Bob?
All right, thank you, Dick. Here are the top 10 finishers this afternoon in the Heinz Southern 500. Earnhardt, Martin, Rudd, Wallace, and Schrader. 6 through 10, Harry Gant, Bill Elliott, Bobby Hillen, Morgan Shepherd, and Sterling Marlin. Now the point standings after this race. Next race on the schedule will be at Richmond. It's Dale Earnhardt still in the lead. Second is Rusty Wallace, 73 behind. Mark Martin is 128 behind. Darrell Waltrip is 381 behind, and Bill Elliott moves to 5th. He is 360 points behind Dale Earnhardt. Those are the unofficial point standings in the Winston Cup competition. We'll be back with more of Race Day America from here at Darlington Raceway right after this.